You know what, Spotify? Interesting choice for music, but I'm gonna respect it. We're listening to ZZ Top today, apparently. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. I think I'm forgetting some shit. I am forgetting some shit. Hold on, before Sunstar gets the gun. Before Sunstar gets the gun, I need to open the thing. Why are we screaming? Chats, we have some news. Oh boy, do we have... I'm lagging. Why am I lagging so bad? Am I updating something? Is Steam updating? Hello? Hello? Weird. Chat, we have some news, which means I need to do the thing. We'll just... Oh, yes. Excellent. But welcome in, chat. How was your weekend? You don't have to face chat. Is addicted to merit? Wait, what? What? Huh? Updated the Malin framework? What do you mean? Oh, the framework? Oh, yes, absolutely. Because I am, in fact, an AI. I am here to haunt you and take all that you love and give entertainment back. At least I'm better than generative AI. I give joy and happiness back. I don't know about others, but I'm screaming about RimWorld today. Why RimWorld? What do they do with RimWorld? What can they possibly do with RimWorld? Okay. Death teaser for June 11th. Hey, listen, the only thing I'm caring about right now is the fact that we may be getting more DLC for Cyberpunk. There's a rumor. We're getting an update. We know we're getting an update on, I think it's like the 26th of this month. But there is a rumor that it is not going to be just like a normal patch like the last one was, like, I think like customizations and like car customizations and stuff. Supposedly this next one may be a whole patch. Cyber go round back in business. I agree. I think we're gonna play it over from the beginning again if we get a new patch. If we get like, oh, I froze. If we get like a big what do they call it? A big like content patch, like there's actually like new material and stuff, not just like more customizations or something, we will definitely be playing it again. And if by some grace of some deity far above our own heads, CD Projekt Red has secretly been working on the multiplayer game mode of Cyberpunk, it's fucking Jover, dude. It's fucking Jover. I'm gonna start grabbing people left and right. They're done. They're playing Cyberpunk. I don't care. Extreme murder mode new for Mondays? Oh yeah, there will be murder. Because I think this time if we play it, I'm gonna do like a techie sniper. We're gonna use the like tech weapons, and we're gonna do our missions by shooting through walls and shit. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be fun. Ah yeah, Nekomata, baby. Full Nekomata. Hi Melissa. Hi Boog. I don't know why my model is lagging today. All right, chat. Who's been keeping up with the news over the weekend? Because I promise you, there's probably one thing that you didn't see. I don't know if we want to talk about that now or save it for later. Which news? Let's see. LA is rioting again. So if anybody doesn't remember, this is like the third or fourth time LA has had a major quote riot, air quotes riot. And almost every other one previously has been extremely historically significant. So are y'all ready to buckle up, baby? Who remembers the LA riots? It's time for Roof Koreans to come back, baby. Doing like Payday 2, we're done with it and working on the next game 6 months later. Guys, the fanbase is acting like Smashers seeing the new Crow. We need something. Well, no, they've been saying that they had like a support studio on the side that was like doing like a little bit of extra stuff here and there. But they said it was more like quality of life and like maybe just like fun little side things. Not anything like new content. But supposedly the rumor is that CD Projekt Red has been secretly working on content. These fuckers yelling, La Migra! La Migra! Let me think. There was a post I saw earlier today that apparently ICE and the National Guard are already shooting at journalists. So that was the thing. Although it does seem like the governor of California is going to be suing The state of California is going to be suing the federal government for sending federal a vid with the Australian journalist. Yes, the video with the Australian journalist. Australia Channel 9, their journalist was apparently shot at actively on camera. And then supposedly the studio retracted and said, no, she was actually caught in the crossfire. They definitely weren't shooting right at her. People see how they still deny it. Yeah. I don't know. I do not know what backstage deals went on for the studio to be like, no, that's not what happened. They have no right or reason to be there, and it actively infringes upon the state's own independent laws that are technically handed down from the federal government. So the federal government is breaking its own rules by sending National Guard. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting the next several days. If y'all didn't hear, though, let's look at Sin City, aka Las Vegas. Apparently, last night, a YouTuber shot and killed another YouTuber that was live streaming on the Vegas Strip. Apparently, they had internet beef. Sin City Mannywise shot other YouTuber Finny the Legend. Fatally shot Finny the Legend live on camera on the Vegas Strip. See, kids, this is why you don't, I'm also frozen. See, kids, this is why you don't make your content about, like, gambling or about having beefs. Yeah. Yeah, he was live streaming in front of a hotel. And you just see some people, like, start to panic on the side. And then I think it's Finny, comes into camera. And, like, he's like, whoa, 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 and, like, falls down. I'm assuming the stream has been, like, taken down or something. I don't know what's going on. Oh, the YouTuber's wife a YouTuber was killed with his wife while he was live on the platform. The suspect is a fellow YouTuber who's been arguing with the victim on YouTube for a few days prior to the event. Both these men live in Las Vegas. The allegedly suspect named Sin City Mannywise uploaded videos of him driving through Vegas looking for the victim. Wait, he was uploading videos? Multiple? As soon as he saw the victim named Finny the Legend with his wife, he began firing at them in the public. Beef started after YouTube strike war began after these two creators started taunting each other on YouTube. Strike war is where creators intentionally get their enemies' channels demonetized by sending copyright strikes after two creators used each other's content to taunt. Compiled videos related to what led to the tragic moment as well. Although it looks like almost every single video here, like, becomes censored afterwards. Wow, you guys are fucking pathetic, dude. Wait, what does it say? Wait. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at this guy. So it was Sin City Mannywise is his name. Do you think they've already gotten rid of his channel? 10 push-ups. Ah, shit. All right, honeybees. Hold on a second. Let's see. Sin City Mannywise. His channel doesn't show up. It's all the news. It's all news pages. So they probably got rid of his channel. Oh, wait. Here's a video from his, like, Twitter, it looks like. Okay, he is a white man. Granted, he looks like the kind of white man that you expect makes Las Vegas his personality. He's wearing a basketball jersey. He has, like, a really shitty goatee, and he wears his hat sideways. And it looks like Finny's black. So, it's gonna be great. I'm sure this is gonna be fine. Do it. Raised hell. Raised hell, Vegas. SoundCloud? He looks like a SoundCloud rapper, yeah. Yeah, if you're thinking SoundCloud rapper, you've got the right image. You've got the right image. But that's still, what's the word? Ah, yes. Pathetic. Pathetic. Go do your own shit. If you want to start beef, don't be fucking petty and try to start taking away somebody's livelihood. Unless they're, like, Well, usually out of two people, there's probably gonna be somebody who's petty enough to fucking be like, you know what? The biggest dig I can do this person is take away their livelihood. Curse you, white people! You say that like me and you aren't the whitest people you know. But, hi, Simon. SoundCloud rapper confirmed, not clickbait. Absolutely fucking not. I hate rap. I hate it with a passion. But, Apple Intelligence? Do I even want to know? Oh my goodness, do I even want to know why Apple Intelligence is trending? Has hit a wall. AI companies try to hide the new Apple study, The Illusion of Thinking, proves that large language models are not a pathway to human level intelligence, or reasoning models are failing. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been spent on the wrong path. Okay. Nickelback mentioned? Hell yeah, I play a lot of Nickelback. I like Nickelback. I'm sorry, I like Nickelback, okay? Okay. But... Wait. Oh, wait, is Apple Intelligence that weird little, like, chest box thing that they fucking were selling for, like, $400? And it was supposed to be, like, a personal assistant type shit? I use it as gym music. Nickelback is perfect gym music. I put it in another photograph. Fuck it. Fuck off. Fuck off. I think it's time to nickel forward. No, we need Nickelback. It needs to be 2008 again, and we can stop all this from happening. Okay, yeah, there's nothing interesting with this Apple Intelligence thing going around. Everything else seems to be about the ICE raids in LA, the president lying about who's doing what. Them LA is a full-on insurrection. Us at the protest, getting hot dogs. Amazing. Also, yo, this man looks like he's making like some kind of like Mexican-style hot dog, and it looks awesome. Way better than Nathan's. Nathan's can shove off compared to this. I didn't even know Nickelback in 08. I was still a kid. I don't know. It just feels like 2000s rock to me. Nickelback's always felt like 2000s rock to me. Schmickle schmack? Not schmickle schmack. All right, hold on. I got to do this 10 push-ups, chat. And then I need to pull up the wheel of punishment because I still owe y'all four wheel spins from last week. I didn't forget. I'm so smart. Aren't you proud of me? All right, let me do these 10 push-ups really quick. Ugh. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Big smooth brain, big smooth brain. Hands, cashier, dollar. Here's your Nickelback. Boo! Oh my goodness. All right. Do we want the screen down for this, or do y'all trust me? Oh, goodness. Why did doing that give me hiccups? Why did doing those push-ups give me hiccups? Yeah, that's true. I didn't start listening to Nickelback until like the last 5 years. Couldn't tell you exactly when, but it definitely has not been that long. And even then, I only just started adding Nickelback songs to like my playlist this year. I like watching it spin. All right, hold on. We will get the screen. It's fine. It's fine. Ow, what the fuck? Ow. Why were those so small? Vote. Hold on, let me go check something. I have an idea. Oh, no, it's on 1920 by 1080. Turn that down just to make it a little better. Oh, well then. All right. Let me get... Oh, I don't have it up. Where are you, Wheel of Punishment? Spin, spin, spin. Tell us the sin we will win. Okay. So we gotta do this 4 times. We'll do it all. Okay, thigh slap's easy. I'm wearing shorts today. So we got 1 thigh slap. Next. Next. Nice boat. Thanks, Annie. How are you doing? Okay, we gotta swap to Cheebs. Damn it. Damn it. We're gonna respin that one because this was from, I believe, Axio. And Axio's a mod. And I would just have... Seriously? Really? Oh, compliment self. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. I have to compliment myself. Shit. I got up and went to the gym before a stream instead of sleeping in like I tried to because I didn't fall asleep. I did good. I went to the gym instead of getting 2 extra hours of sleep or just lounging in bed for 2 more hours. All right. This is the last one. This is the last spin. So we owe Cheebs and we owe thigh slaps. No. You're fucking joking, dude. You're fucking joking. Fuck. It was gonna happen someday, I suppose.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't bread over every egg.
The wheel has get debated. Well, I suppose it's best that it happened at the beginning of stream, so... You love to see it? I hate you. I hate you all. All right, let me see. That means I have to go to the archive I have saved. Thanks, Tomskog. All right. The thing is, I also don't get to read these things once over again because I haven't looked at them in so long. I love pinball. But yeah, this is one of the authors that I already have permission to record this from. So the thing is, though, I can't do like Where the Bad Cops Go because he specifically requested that if I do a story like this one, where there's like several of these, here, let me zoom in for everyone, where there's like multiple parts, he wants you to do all of them. All of them. So I want to find Crossbow Killer of Lake Atabat. We can check that one. Nikki didn't go to heaven. Ooh. Oh, that's No Sleep. Okay, we may be able to do No Sleep. Let's see some of the new stuff because I have not looked, I'm pretty sure, this year at all. The Sleeping People of Los Azules. How I Met Milo. Salmon Logic? I burnt. Okay, this one seems interesting. Burned for 16 days. If I want to do a bun or a ponytail for hair. Wait, who? Right now? You? IRL? Okay, let's see. How long are these? Okay. Okay. Here, I don't... Well, it counts the comments in the length of the scroll, I'm pretty sure. So let me... Here. Oh, Lord, these are quite long. So this guy's one of the more popular authors on the Reddit page. And he's very prevalent. He does, like, a story every other week, give or take. Hi, Cecil. How are you doing? The thing is, like, I wish I had practiced some of these before because I honestly didn't expect we were going to land on this today. Fuck, chat. Chat, could we do this tomorrow? Can I have some time tonight to like read some of these so that I can come prepared? Because it looks like a lot of these have like spoken parts. Like, because we can do this tomorrow since it's yapping day. Always expect the unexpected. I did read a bunch of his stories, but it looks like I didn't save them. Like I didn't save the specific stories that I've read. Let me see if I can scroll down and actually find them. Because there was one I really liked that was something about the bodies in the lake. Like bodies wash up every year, and it's like every person in the town's job to pull them in and bury them. But then one day a guy that's still alive washes up. She lives in the deep end of the pool. That actually seems kind of cool. Don't look for Lady Bluebell. No. 72-hour sleep ban. Don't eat the Minnesota Blue. Fed to the backyard bell. Ooh. It came from my wallpaper. Here, chat. If y'all want some good horror stories, this is the author's Google page. I recommend checking it out. A lot of these stories are really good. The strange gunshots of Logan County. The day I crashed 621 planes. Don't eat the blue meat. Huh. Old Town Subway Cult. I like these. I need to go back and read all of these. The Year Walker. A blue what? Blue meat, Akuma. Would you like the blue meat? It's not like Soylent Green, I promise. I promise. Or protein blocks. I promise this is a perfectly reasonable product that you will enjoy. May I ask where it comes from? No. No, you may not. We harvest it here at the carnival. It's Soylent Blue. It is not Soylent Blue. The blue schmeat. No, the blue schmeat. Get it right. Blue schmeat. We accidentally invented a vampire myth. Nice. I was stuck in the Cardinal secret kitchen. As of yesterday, Creepy Cars is offline. I collect rare organs. What does rare organs mean? Melon head. But yeah, I'm not finding... Oh, here it is. The Solston Lake Corpse Fishers. This 3-part series. This was one that I read and was going to record very early on, back when I first made the Dark Carnival Campfire channel. Going back to Mario Kart Worlds, enjoy your game, Ordain. I hope you're having fun playing Mario Kart. Because you're going to be playing Kirby Air Riders with me when it comes out. Yes, you are, Ordain. We're playing Kirby Air Riders. You, me, and every bitch I can grab from here to Timbuktu. A heart from the right side of the chest, was that one of them? I stumbled upon a dead language. My mind is contagious. I heard Kirby. Hi, Hex. Yeah, the Kirby Air Riders game. Will you survive the House of Flies? The Diary of Emmett Rask. I think I lost my fiance on Migration Day. You think? The 4 rules of finding your voice again. Last night at the Runners Club, found the Static Chasers, the Green Star of Blackula. Teenage Mutant Ninja Ouija board. Amazing. The Studio Stole My Voice. These are some of the older ones, but as they go back, obviously you've seen like the lore sheet. Lore sheet. Oh. Are we making like an overarching Galapagos Files? If we break up, she'll die? What is this bonus? Oh. I'm an Ohio park ranger. Don't listen to the park rules. Huh. Marin curbifying everyone. You will be curbed. Let me just try unlocking mirror mode. Oh my god, you fucking dork. All right, we will save this for tomorrow, chat. I will spend some time tonight going over the stories, and I will read one of them. I will pick one of them, and we will record it tomorrow live on stream. Solidifying that Marin is a Kirby character. That's fine. That's fine. The thing is, though, chat, do we want to do this where it's like, fuck it, we ball one take? Or do you want me to do this as like a way where I'm like confident and like we edit it live on stream? Is tomorrow going to be a work stream? Is that what this has become? Has the just chatting stream become a work stream? What if I am curbed but want to be stomped? I think we're going to do that. I think it's going to be a work stream. Let me make sure I get this. I'm going to steal this picture and I'm going to post it in group chat. Fudge. All right. So now I have that picture saved. I'm going to make a post later today that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Also, yes, here's the hot dog. This is the hot dog stand I was talking about. Chat, I don't care what anybody says. I trust this man intrinsically. Little Mexican uncle making awesome looking hot dogs. Fucking sold, dude. Fucking sold. I will burn a building down for this man. Take your chat to work day. Taking your chat away for work. No, we'll be taking breaks and stuff. We'll still be chatting. And you'll be able to see like how much I fucking judge myself. It's gonna be bad, chat. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really fucking bad. I'm sure. And how much Marin judges us? I judge myself far more harshly. Far more harshly. Anyway. Okay, we can go back to the chair. Anyway, back to the new... Oh. Anyway, back to the news table. All right. Chat. Do we have anything else we need to talk about? Oh, Switch 2? Yeah, Kirby Air Riders. The sequel to Kirby Air Ride is coming to Switch 2, which means at some point we're getting a Switch 2. I want to see if maybe I can talk Faye and Sai into like splitting the cost of like several consoles. Because then the house would have like a supply of consoles that we could all use to like make various content and any like exclusives and stuff. Mayhaps. They made an Xbox Switch. Oh, I know the one you're talking about. The like, does it count as a Switch or is it more like a Steam? What was it? More consoles for the lounge. It's not for the lounge, it's for content. These consoles you're not going to be able to check out like the rest of them. Yeah, Steam Deck. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't think of what those were called for a second. It looks like a Steam Deck. Or like, what is it? The ROG. It's not Atlas, is it? ROG. Mobile gaming. No, I did not want the ROG phones. I wanted the Ally. That's what it is. Yeah, it's the Ally. Oh no, it's the Xbox Ally. ROG X. Oh, it's made by the Republic of Gamers. Wow. Bird. Welcome in, Raiders. How was your stream? Did you have a good time? What trouble did you get into? What shenanigans were you up to? Did you burn anything down? Oh, infamous. Yo, wanna run away from Bird? Run away from Bird? Why are you running away from Bird? Also, how are you enjoying Infamous? I love Infamous. The Infamous series is so cool. It's up there with me with like Prototype. It's another series that I want more of as well as Prototype. I fucking need it, dude. I fucking need it. I was so disappointed that we didn't get like an announcement for like Prototype 3 or anything this year. I need it. Fucking everybody needs it. I need it injected directly into my veins. I need the blacklight virus in my veins. I need a new prototype. I agree. But welcome in, Raiders. I hope you had a good stream. If you want to hang out, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mara. I'm the Ringleader of the Dark Carnival. I typically play games that are dark, spooky, terrifying, or just whatever my little inclinations like to get into. We just spun the Wheel of Punishment a whole bunch of times because we are currently doing the funding up there, and every $10 we have to spin the Wheel of Punishment. A crossover with Infamous and Prototype. Really? Didn't Infamous have like a crossover DLC at one point? Miss Rave, thank you for the follow. We are also making the slow crawl towards partner, guys. We're very, very close. We need a few more streams over 75 CCV. So if you want to hang out, lurk, do all that jazz, it's always greatly appreciated. Panda! Had to pop in for the new model. Well, thank you, Panda. How are you doing, bud? Thank you for the tier 2. Holy shit. 38 months tier 2. Nice. Vampire crossover, it was so good. Was it a crossover or did they just have vampires? Hold on. Infamous Vampire DLC. Feast of Blood, is that what it was? Festival of Blood. Oh yeah, when fucking Cole becomes the vampire for a DLC. That's right. Hey, yo, it's $5. The DLC is $5 on the PSN. Amazing. Okay. Zeke. Vampires have overrun Dumoray and have taken Cole McGrath and his blood for the resurrection of their leader. He has one night to find and kill the head vampire, aka Bloody Mary, and save the city. Otherwise, he will remain a vampire and be in Bloody Mary's control forever. Really? Really? I think one of the things I like the most out of Infamous is whenever they would do like cutscene moments and stuff, and it was like comic book style. It was very good. It's very good. But what was the other one with Delson? What was that Infamous game called? Second Son, that's it. Really, really? Really, really? I'm baiting Rosalina of a world, but man, my thumb hurts from holding A. Rip. Listen, my thumb hurts whenever I go play Guilty Gear Strive. I'm like 3 fights in and my thumb already fucking hurts. That's it. That one seemed like it was really came out of nowhere. Never played the second one though. Which one? Which one? The vampire DLC? Opening scene, Alex Mercer explodes out of the second dude's chest like a xenomorph. I feel like if we got another prototype at this point, we're getting another protagonist. We're gonna get a third protagonist. Isn't there also a woman that's technically infected and in control of herself in the prototype universe? I'm pretty sure there is. I'm pretty sure she's from the first game. I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can look that up. Prototype. See, did they have a specialized wiki? They do. They do. Prototype does have a specialized wiki. No, I need series, comics, timeline, characters. Okay, hold on. La 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 la. Wait, what is this? Prototype mentioned only characters? Oh. Okay. Deuteragonist? Tritagonist in Prototype 2, younger sister of Alex Mercer. Okay, okay. Okay, she's the Resistance who helps James. Okay. No, that's not the character I was thinking of. It was James Heller's daughter? I don't know for sure. Infamous went from DC comic style of making imaginary cities to just they're in Seattle. Oh yeah, because yeah, it does take place on the West Coast. That is right. Yeah, the what is it? Doesn't the original game take place in like a fake New Orleans? I forget. Is it a fake New Orleans or is it like just another Louisiana city? Let me see. Numerate really quick. State of Louisiana also much diverse and dangerous compared to Empire City. Okay, it doesn't say anything if it's like a fictionalized thing. Okay, it's fake New Orleans. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, because I know like other games that do that. Like, if anybody's played Ready or Not, Ready or Not is in... Hold on, I forgot the name of it. Los Sueños, that's it. It's in Los Sueños. It is technically based on Los Angeles, but it's not in the same place as Los Angeles. I think it's south of San Diego or north of San Diego. Regardless, it's not in the same location as LA, but it's based off of LA. Also, if you like really fun sim games and you want to play like a SWAT sim that has a crazy good story, go play Ready or Not. The thing is, though, is the story is not like guaranteedly right in front of your face. You have to pay a lot of attention to get the story. Faux New Orleans. I always like it when games do that, weirdly enough, where they like take a major city and then kind of reimagine it in their own little way, but still stick somewhat faithfully to it. Like, I remember New Marais being really cool to like climb over and explore throughout the game. Vampire DLC, you're fake Nola. It's fine. It's fine. All right. I was still looking to see if there was any interesting news. Hi, idiots. It's been pretty fun. We were being forced tomorrow to do a recording of a script. That was for being 1%. I am surprised we landed on it. What the fuck is this channel? This page's name. Wu-Tang is for the children? At Wu-Tang Kids? What? Okay, hold on. Chat, hold on a second. We're gonna pause this really quick. And I'm gonna adjust the audio because I want to hear what this guy's saying really quick. But I'm gonna make it so that everybody can hear it.
Your assault rifles and your sticks, you should be standing here with us.
This is a dude yelling at the National Guard in LA.
We know you got a job to do, but you took an oath to the Constitution, not to the fascists in the White House. Think about what you're doing now. Think about what this means. Coming into our community.
Uh-oh, chat disconnected for a second.
Peaceful fucking community.
What did the 50K redeems do? Let me double check. The reading redeem makes me do a reading. You get to pick what I read on stream. Good bad request is kind of exactly what it sounds like. Call you good or bad based on what you want. And then 100K is show off. It does nothing.
You should be sick and tired of it.
Oh, very much so, Knight. No, I saw that earlier today, and then the studio itself went back on her.
Laugh at you. Our president laughs at you. He calls you fools.
True.
He said the people who died overseas in the military.
Oh yeah, her own studio went back on her and was like, no, she was caught in the crossfire. She wasn't intentionally shot at. And then they tried to remove the footage. They removed the footage from their website.
Ask yourself when you wake up tomorrow. I don't know if you have kids. Ask yourself the future you want.
All these dudes wearing spit shield helmets. I'm sorry y'all can't see it, but I just don't want to show it on stream.
You can answer me.
Oh yeah, it's on camera.
Is it this?
That shit's on the internet for fucking ever. If it's uploaded once, you can't get rid of that shit. All right, that's the end of that guy. But yeah, I just wanted to hear what he had to say. Because this was apparently a very popular video. We can bring the music back now. All right. The dude literally turns, looks at her, you can count to 5, and then he shoots? Huh? Yeah, it's... You know what you call that, right? The chat, you know what you call that, right? Wait. Oh, here's the post from Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Let's get this straight. 1, local law enforcement didn't need help. 2, Trump sent troops anyway to manufacture chaos and violence. 3, Trump succeeded. 4, now things are destabilized and we need to send in more law enforcement just to clean up Trump's mess. Nah, fuck him up. Fuck him up. If there's one thing LA knows how to do in out of all the cities in the US, it's how to have a good time and make it a bad thing. If y'all ever look up pictures or like other images from the LA riots, like previous LA riots, let me see if I can find some of the... They do the same thing every time where they're just like, they're looting and destroying property. Okay, good. Good. It's property, my guy. Guys, they're destroying property. They're calling Waymo cars and setting them on fire, which also sounds like something Ordain would do. Good. Good. The LA people never signed up to have self-driving cars on their streets, and those cars have already proven to be extremely dangerous and effectively immune to fucking litigation. Burn them. Burn them. Fuck the companies that constantly take subsidies from cities like LA. I didn't know such thing yet. How many cops have been beaten with flagpoles or fire extinguishers so far? I hope the number is not 0. You should totally not set fire to Airbnbs. I think at this point, the idea is to have a public demonstration. So I don't think just like renting an Airbnb, getting inside and setting it on fire is going to have the message. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message moment. So doing these things basically right on the street where people can see it and react to it. Any sort of people can react to it is the best way to send a message. You should totally not set fire to Airbnbs. I ran into a short of one guy talking about it, and all he did was complain about how it wasn't peaceful protest and that we shouldn't do anything about Nazis. Huh? Hey guys, it's time. You gotta protest peacefully. You gotta work within the system. This is the way you do things. You gotta work within the system. Don't you know? No, you don't. No, you don't. You raise hell. You raise hell, motherfucker. Oh God, chat. Okay, so the way I found out about the Waymo thing, I wish I was joking. I found the original news article that I followed on the Cyberpunk subreddit last night before I went to bed. It was insane. It was insane to see the number of fucking tourists in the Cyberpunk subreddit that were like, this is bad. They're burning property. And half the other rest of the subreddit was like, what did you think Cyberpunk was, dude? What did you think the punk at the end of the sentence was? And half the other half, going back to the first half, were like, but Cyberpunk is like neon and chrome and super cool sci-fi. No. Get out. You have lost the plot, baby. How is it the president can keep making illegal orders he doesn't have the authority to do, and the people in question just follow the order? The people that they send are either on their side or are required to follow orders and don't understand, because all of the contests against these illegal actions are essentially done to the average citizen behind closed doors. So like a lot of the orders, even though they're like known, they're basically upfront very unconstitutional or borderline illegal, the way that they counter them and try to stop them is by prolonged legal, litigation, which is like why you'll hear all the time, like federal judge overturns, circuit judge overturns, all this other stuff. It's shit like that because it's more legal process. It's they go ahead and do the thing that they want, and by the time that they're told that they can't do it, they've already done it. It's over. It's like right now, there's still people at CCOT in El Salvador. They were told they had to bring the people back, and the government is just like, no. Nah. They've made no steps to do it. They shipped people over there before they could get a court date. Mind you, to deport someone, you have to have a court date. You have to go through due process. And instead of doing that, the US government just ripped people off the fucking street, takes them to a detention center and either leaves them there for an extended period of time, or what they did with a lot of people is they whisked them off the street and whisked them to El Salvador, where now they're in CCOT, the worst prison on the planet. Is to slam the press and courts with so much shit that they can't keep up. It's the Gish Gallop of legality. It's the Gish Gallop of legality. Hectic has the right idea. They do so many bad things and insane things at once that you can't possibly counteract all of them. Better to ask for forgiveness, but with ethically based crackdowns. I'm sure there's a word for that. Does not get due process excuse to take away from anyone who dissents? Correct. And because they have to counter it essentially like one case at a time. And while that case does set a precedent, they now have to go to a court for every other case to make sure that that precedent applies equally. I'm pretty sure that guy that was caught with like the Buffaloes jersey, and like the president claimed that the tattoos on his fingers were like MS-13 icons, still hasn't been brought back home. What the fuck is that, Wolren? That is horrendous. I hate that. Thank you for the bits for it, though. And more too late scrub. It's more too late scrub. It's very much too late scrub. It's like, we already did the thing. All right, but now you got to fix it because legality and you have to. And they're like, nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. It's like whenever a kid is like, he gets in trouble because he made a mess of his room. And then you tell him he can't go do anything until he fucking cleans up his room. And the kid just wanders around his room, kicking at the things that are just scattered around the floor, the shit that he himself threw on the floor, and doesn't pick a single thing up. He just kind of wanders around and kind of like picks at it and like lifts it a little bit and then drops it right back where it was. Oh, he's back? Okay. Last I heard, he didn't get returned. But yeah, he's one of hundreds. He's one of hundreds. Can you imagine shipping your own citizens to a country hundreds of miles away to send them to prison, to one of the worst known prisons on the planet? That's insane. That's insane, dude. Sorry, I just started thinking about all the other times that the US has done the same thing, and I was like, maybe it's not as insane as it seems. Apparently, we're fucking prone to this. Points at Japanese internment camps. Points at Native American schools. As someone of German descent, I can imagine now. I was like, I can't imagine how insane this would be. Wait. Remembers actual American history? Never mind. Except for prisoners? Correct. Yeah. They got rid of debtors' prisons, which was the thing for a little bit. Oh, you're poor and have debt? Okay, go to prison. Go to prison. Okay, but does working at the prison pay off my debt? No. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The US, the weirdest way to say it is the US is practically a prison state. It's a prison police state at this point. I hate it. It's insane the more you look at shit. It is a prison police state that has a population meant to labor and work to fund its military industrial complex. I love the Dumonalot. Well, thank you, Bolrin. It's fantastic. I love it too. I love it too. Here we'll do this. We'll bring back my glasses. There we go. There we go. It's so hard to actually believe that the cruelty is the actual point. Like, it seems impossible, but here we are. The cruelty is the point. The cruelty has almost always been the point. Whenever they say something and when they say they want to do something and you're like, that's super villain shit. Or like, that's not even like morally gray super villain shit. That's like, I kind of just want all of these people to go away, or by any means necessary. And it's just, the situation is, the cruelty is the point. The cruelty is the point. Australian Onion already has a funny bit on the journalist shooting. The hair is perfect and the red jacket, very iconic. Thank you. Well, the red isn't a jacket. This is actually a shirt. Originally it was supposed to be like sleeves rolled up, but Drool, the artist who made this, ended up turning it into short sleeves, which I thought was very funny. Oh my god, it's already been an hour. What the fuck? Oh, I wasn't nearly as late as I thought I was. Wow. Yeah, we were only like a few minutes late apparently. I thought I was later than I actually was. I didn't look at the time when I started stream. I only looked before I got in the shower. And then now. Throughout history has been one of those things. Colonizer, slave trader, human trafficker, or drug dealer, but always the mafia boss? Correct. The US has always been, I would say, an immigrant state, but it's really more of like an immigrant trap. If that makes sense. Oh. Panda! Panda, what the fuck, dude? Holy shit, thank you for the 20 subs. God damn. You jumped straight to level 5 hype train? Hey, yo, Psy got one. So did, okay, hold on. Who got one? Impy got one. Taco Shrimp, Psy, Grislin, Anna got one. Sinshade, Jade, Nintendo, Jane, Weasel, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I dodged a blue shell. Oh my god, you fucking dork. Thank you so much for the gifted subs, Panda. Holy shit. Someday we'll get a treasure. Someday we'll get a treasure train. I would like to get a treasure train someday, but this one won't be. Because apparently it's supposed to tell you before you have one. Darn. I also didn't realize that the treasure train like discount, once you hit the level 5 hype train, it lasts for the whole week, which is really good. 35% off for the whole week for batch gifted subs is awesome. It'll especially be really good when we hit partner if we get a treasure train, because I'm pretty sure the max number of emotes that you get after you hit partner is based on like the number of total subs you've ever had. So the more like total subs you've ever had, the more emote slots you get after partner. The Nazis were impressed by American racism? Correct. Correct. Hitler was inspired by an American when he wrote Mein Kampf in prison. That's not even a joke. I wish I was joking. The man who invented the current concept of like human race, I don't mean like the broad human race, I mean human races. Things like, quote, the Nordic race, I'm going to use the word here, the Mongol race, or as I think in his book, he called them Mongoloids, which is still weird as fuck. He was American. The man who created the concept that inspired Hitler was American. Henry Ford a medal for being good at being racist. Yep. Yep. I'm going to say this, chat, and it's probably going to sound ungrateful. America has never been a good country. American history has always been bad. Oh, Jesus, Walren, are you trying to just freak me out? What is this? What is that? Shrek? Is that like... Oh, of course, it's Cruzador. Oh my god. I don't know why. It reminds me of like one of those like source engine Shrek animations. If you know what I'm talking about. Hope y'all know what I'm talking about. But just contributing to the goals. Oh, those are not, the subs don't go to the goals. The subs only are only donation, not subs. It's only donations. Panda. Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Oh, Jesus Christ. Was that one of the... I think so. I think that was one of the videos, wasn't it? That was made in source. For a reason. Ugh. Ugh. Slaughter all the non-whites arc by the time that came up. Yep. Yep. And do we need to talk about the scalp campaign? Or the fact that we nearly wiped out American bison for the sole fact that we wanted to starve out Indian nations? Do we want to talk about the fact that the 5 nations of Native Americans, far prior to when any colonizers showed up on American soil, existed for centuries before that? Reinstalling Cyberpunk because I finally got the DLC. Let's go, Walren. SFM, Shrek filmmaker. Yes, the Shrek filmmaker. Unmute in a meeting. All I can sound and solve is the Shrek. I am so sorry, Connie. I am so sorry. Yeah, US. Okay. The United States of America history is only 2 to 3 human lifespans. But all the time of like the colonizer period of like when they were just kind of like colonies or expansionism states, I don't like it's weird to find a name for them right now. But they've always been bad. We apparently, what's the, I'm trying to remember, there was there was maybe a movie or something where they referred to as like white people in it, from the point of view of the aliens, as like white monsters. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree. Once you learn history, it's fucking shameful, dude. It's fucking shameful. Thank you guys so much for the hype train. Holy shit. Oh, okay. It's snooze the ad break because we started a hype train. Got it. Why is it always after the train is over? What do you mean? What do you mean, Sunstar? Why is what? Why is what? Time for Rainbow Road? Oh my god, Ordained, you dork. There were people here before they were... Oh, correct. Absolutely. I mean, do we want to talk about the, what is it, the Mississippi Valley, the Mississippi Delta city? Let me see if I can find the old renditions. Mississippi. The Mississippi River Valley images. Also, chat, in case you didn't know, let me see. Will this actually look good if I open it in a separate tab? That's not bad. It's not bad. We will bring the screen back down because we still got just under 3 minutes. There you go. This is essentially the of course, an artist rendition of the remains that they essentially took from the remains of the archaeological site of the Mississippi River Valley civilization. I do not know the name of the native group off the top of my head. But we can actually go back over here and there's like a map. Let's right here. Like all of these living along the Mississippi Delta. But this is only a part of the native groups that were in the United States. Chad, if you didn't know right now, this is actually something I learned recently. Because I felt like I needed to know some information about this because honestly, it feels like, I don't know, weirdly white savior to say. I care. I like knowing history. I like understanding it. And I don't like being lied to. So you can understand when I'm like, when I think back to like my high school history lessons and then I learn shit after high school and it's just like, bastards. Every single one of you. You lied to me. This book is full of lies and or omissions. What's this? This is a artist rendition of the Mississippi, one of the Mississippi cities. So let me see if I can actually find, let's do, oh, here's another decent picture. Okay, it's gonna be a little grainy. This was another method that they had. So you see these essentially like flat mounds. We'll call them mounds, prism-esque mounds. They were specifically raised to protect housing and important structures from flooding because they were often right on the riverbank. But let me see if I can find some of the archaeology locations. No, wait. Okay. Here's one of them. They still exist. Granted, we've fucking paved it. Insane. Like, the mounds still exist. That's how well made they were. They're not, like, perfectly maintained, but they're still obviously existent and, of course, have definitely suffered from, like, water erosion. But these things still exist. There's a different picture I've seen before. Pictures. can't be the only one. That's the same mound. I know there's more. Here. Mississippi. City. Going back to my home on top of a man-made Prism Hill. Cahokia. That's still the same one, but maybe it is the last one. Because all these pictures... Oh, what's this? This is... This looks more South American, Central and South American. But, oh, what was it? Chat. Oh, son of a bitch. We got an ad break. I'll put this away. I'll see if I can find it too. I was going to say they are very beautiful. If you like, I love Pokemon. I've played almost every single Pokemon game. Let me get words on stream really quick. I completely forgot to get that ready since the ads were counting down. Oh, I clicked start. Why did I click start? Okay, it was visible. That's good. No, I do love Pokemon Grins. What's up? What's the deal with Pokemon? Did they do another announcement? Did we get another announcement? Is there something I need to know about? Ah, shit. Twitch chat's loading again. Oh, okay. Meh. But yeah, it seems to be the only one that I keep finding here. Let me see really quick if I can find, I believe it was the Incas. Incas floating farms. Oh no, it was the floating, okay, it was the floating gardens of the Aztecs. No, that's different. The Aztecs. That is a diorama? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now I did actually learn about these when I was in school. This was actually a part of, what is it? How do you say this? Chinampas. That's it. Chinampas. Artificial islands created by interweaving reeds with stakes to create what are essentially in-river, in-water system gardens. But it's just... Fuck, dude. The things that we're apparently willing to not even sacrifice, literally just eradicate. Well, it was an Aztec city. It was amazing compared to lots of Venice. Ooh. Hold on. I'm curious. Let me see. Aztec, Mexico City. Which is this Tenochtitlan. Here's an art piece of it. Okay, we've only got 2 seconds, so I'm not going to give you another round. So let me see here. So this is one of the images that I found that was like a rendition of the Tenochtitlan, I believe. Yeah. Tenochtitlan on Lake Texcoco. Yeah, this, like, here, we can see if we can find, like, this is the remains of it now. It's dry, it's arid. I don't know for sure, but the only reason I can guess now that it's arid is probably because at some point, they dammed whatever the water source was, I'm guessing. Or maybe they had done something to redirect the water to the city to make it essentially on a lake. I know it would. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. Here, actually, we can look that up. We have the power of the fucking internet, dude. Here, I'm just gonna copy and paste because I'm gonna mess up how do you spell it. Whoops. Pronunciation. Okay, hold on. No music. Oh, that did not sound right. That does not sound right. It also says American pronunciation here. Can I get a video? Correctly. Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan? I'm still probably gonna end up butchering it. Fuck. Fuck. Oh, that was loud. Oh, that was loud. I turned it up so I could hear the pronunciation. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am. Listen, I don't get to hear these words. Like, even in American education, you don't get to hear them. You only read them. You only read them 99% of the time. Maybe the history teacher reads the section out to you. The British to tell me how to pronounce anything. I thought he was French. But then his name was also Miguel. The channel name was Miguel something. But hi, 420. That is such a good arrive emotes. But yeah, I was gonna say the things that we eradicate. Okay, this was the garden style that I was talking about, chat. It's very interesting. I'm sorry. I just think it's very interesting. Essentially what they would do is they would pile up river mud, which is extremely high in nutrients. And they would use reeds and large stakes in order to hold the island together. Very interesting. It was very interesting. I think, nah, that's way too small. I thought at one point I had seen a picture. Was this the same tab that I was using? Let's go here. Okay, here it is. Say it's still kind of used. It's still kind of used. But I can't tell. Is this a diorama? I think this is a diorama. I can't tell. This dude down here in the bottom left, who's like leaning towards the middle, he looks like a doll. And there was somebody like, this is a diorama. This is obviously a diorama. That's a diorama. So is this. But I think this is real. And we brag about modern aquaponics. The white man will. Aquaponics is cool. Aquaponics is still in its infancy and not exactly perfect. The thing though with modern aquaponics though, the goal is to get rid of the necessities of having land. The goal is to be able to build vertically and in tight spaces. This is not the same thing. This is sort of similar, but this was a way that they were able to maximize the use of their active space by using the best resources they had, the local rivers and lakes. So much of the area outside of these rivers and lakes in Mexico is fairly dry. It's fairly dry or mountainous. Sometimes it's mountainous, which I believe there was one of the Central American civilizations that did something very similar in mountain lakes, but I can't remember who it was. Somebody else may know off the top of their head. Maybe it was still also the Aztecs. But yeah. What was the other thing? Oh, I remember. The thing that I was talking about earlier, in terms of Native Americans, as in United States boundaries, those are the ones we're counting right now. There are 574 distinct Native American nations within the United States borders. Also, I'm going back to the chair. Where's my desk? There it is. That's my chair. Have you fed your river mud its nutrients yet? The river mud feeds its own nutrients by things dying in it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure that's totally fine. The white and the brown brag too much. I had to argue with my agri lecturer to not make his racist personality. That makes sense. That makes sense. I could not imagine making the color of your skin your entire personality. Can you enjoy your culture? Can it be part of your lifestyle? Abso-fucking-lutely. But if the only thing you have to be proud of your entire life is, and I'm going to use this as the example, being white, you lost the plot, my dude. You've lost the fucking plot. You need to find something else to be proud of. It took a while to get it. What is mirror mode? Also, I don't like the... Also, it feels weird whenever you say the white and the brown. It feels weird. I don't like that. I don't like that. But... Who's this? Okay. But no, it's just... That's another thing. That... Ooh. Everything in track is mirrored, so instead of drift... Oh. Wait. So it like... Does it like swap? Does it swap your... Shit, what was it? That you can be proud of, but again, like, don't make that your entire personality. I'm not gonna lie, it's the same thing sometimes with like certain pride and stuff. Be a person, don't be a label. It's probably weird to say that, but I have known some people that their entire personality is, it could be things like just their skin tone. It could be their sexuality, their gender. But it's fucking, don't make that your whole thing. Be a person. We're flipping the track on go round. Flip the whole mountain. Hold on, panicking. Okay. Now what? I had to beat 150cc on Grand Prix and knock out and be the top 3 in every race. Oh, it's not too bad. You can be big strong man, but also like Animal Crossing. Yeah. Yo, bootlicking in here. No bootlicking. Oh, I forgot to. What was that? I still owe you all the thigh slaps and the chibi time. Let me get the chibi model. As I float away. Hi, chat. Hold on. Let's do this. Oh, okay. Hold on. This would be goofy. Let me see really quick. I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. And then what I'm going to do here really quick. I forget which thing I need to move forward. I think it's this. Yes, excellent. I can stand on the desk. All right, chat. How are we doing? This is probably going to cause our model to have a lag problem, I think. Also, I'm sorry about the mouth tracking. This model is not rigged for V-Bridger, so it's very weird. It's very weird. I gotta stand on the desk so you can see me! Why? Why are you so mean to me? I gotta stand on the desk. That's how you can see me. It's okay, I'll wipe it down later. It's fine. It's fine. Would flip Marin's hair. Oh, God. I thought we banished the white Splara. It just comes up. It's on default. Default on this model is white Splara. Put her in a teacup and my life is yours. I can't. I can't change the size of the teacup, unfortunately. Sadly, I did not separate the teacup from the desk. I think I could if I went back into the PSD and did it. You shouldn't be able to get into the office, you little shit. Also, hold on. I'm keeping an eye on the timer because we're only going to do this 5 minutes. Oh, goodness. Oh, God dang it. Why do I have the hiccups? Ah, son of a bitch. Ordain, get your ass back over here. Get back over here. Oh, I can't, like, the eyes don't move so well in the V-Bridger. Shit. No, it's too late. I already got him. I already got him. He's right here. He's right here. Bad Ordain! Bad Ordain! You think just because Jeeves is in charge right now, I don't have all the extra hands flying around to pick your ass up? I've become pixelated. Ah, yes. Perfect time to do this. Yes, excellent. Excellent. You can't see what I'm doing. Yeah. You'll never know. You'll never know. But you'll be feeling. Zip. Oh no. All right. We'll finish up cheap. Is that a nuke? Huh? Oh, good lord. I just imagine Mary, what, laying an egg? What? Why? Why? Nuke on throne? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. No, I'm not putting you down. Especially next to the nuke. You don't get to touch the nuke. I mean, we already we have the Sugar Daddy Fund on Throne. The $10,000 or nothing donation on Throne. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Luckily, though, if somebody ever pays that and it happens before, if it happens goofily before the, what was it, before we move, that means I can get a car when we get there. Yes. I can get a nice classic Euro car. Fantastic. Oh. Wait. Oh, interesting. Okay. Somebody finally made a table of all of the recluses spell combinations for Night Rain. I'm so upset I didn't get a key for Night Rain. Oh. Oakley dokeling. Switch 2s Marin could get with that money. So many Switch 2s, dude. So many Switch 2s. But no, even then, I would only get one. I would only get one, and I wouldn't get it until after the move. You didn't Switch 2? No, Grins! Why do so many of y'all eated the nice things? Ordained, you're not going to be able to reach me. You're way over here. You're way over here. You can't reach me, and I'm specifically holding you away from me. Away. There. Where, Marin? There, Marin. All right. All right, chat. We've had chibi time. Now it's time to see if reloading this model is going to break fucking everything. All right. How much lag are we going to get? And also, I need to bring this back down. There we go. Hi, chat. How are you doing? Actually, we can just do... That's not the right one. I'm still selecting chibi chair. There we go. There we go. Backwarts? Backwarts? What do you mean backwarts fireball? Is it a fireball that gives... Okay. Too big for the office? Ah! What do you mean? No, that's fine. Everything in here is pretty fireproof. That's why I just leave that fireplace back there going all the time. Too big for the office. The Phantoms have invaded. Oh, the song. Gotcha. Gotcha. But... Oh, I just heard a car door open. Somebody's leaving. Okay. It's whenever you pop, is it a fireball spews out? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's not fireproof, it's fireproof? Like whiskey? Oh my god. No. Absolutely. Baby hamster. Oh my god, his head is so big. His head is so big. Hamster, yeah, hamster. Show? Okay, I'll show you hamster. All right, hold on, chat. All right, Erdain. I'm gonna go hold you in the air in the corner for a little while. You can just kind of hang out over there. Just go enjoy your time. And then let me do this. And then we need to bring the screen down. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Hi, baby hamster. He just baby hamster. It's only like a 6-second video. He's hamster. He's hamster. Look at how big his head is. Yeah, we interrupt the stream to bring you hamster. A break from the horrors. For hamster. Need to be able to put Ordain on the coat stand hook. Oh, I'd have to get Sean to add that as a PNG though. I'd want it to fit the style. Hamsters are already magical. Hamsters are already magical. All right. Now we can bring this back up. We'll go to full chat. We'll go to full chat. Because we're not doing much news and stuff anymore. It's all head in the hole somewhere. It's adorable. They're so cute. Wait, what is this? Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Baron song number 3, Pog. Pog, my dude. All right, chat. All right. Are we ready for Alone in the Dark? Are we ready to do more Alone in... Oh, interesting. Wisdom to accept change and redemption in another, but he refused seeing only what was, not what is. What are you on about, Shotgun? What are you on about? Okay. Escapes? You rat bastard. Okay. I don't think there's anything else I have to talk about, so I'm going to go ahead and hide this away. And we can get working on getting Alone in the Dark open. Whoops. 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 It's broken! Okay, where is Alone in the Dark? There it is, right at the top of my Steam library. That sign can't stop me. I can't read. All right, now we haven't touched this game in... Okay, hold on a second. We're gonna go ahead and do some things over here. Where are you? Okay, make sure the capture's on, and I need to go change the game category. Alone in the Dark, 2024. Done. Silence music. Silence! Me covering everything in this corner. Blind? What do you mean I'm blind? Huh? How could you? How dare you? But I'm scared of the dark? It's okay. Chat will hold your hand. Thank you, dang it. All right. Thank you for the follow. Like. Okay, I don't know if this is too loud, but we'll wait and see. So let me see if we can... Oh, that's right. Okay. So we had just essentially gotten ported to like a cemetery. We had like opened a door and we were suddenly... Oh my God, the sensitivity. Why does my sensitivity feel so high? I need some... Not you. No. No. No pee-pee holding. Oh, bullets. That doesn't bode well. Okay, is there anything else here I can read? No. No, there's not. Peanuts? Sure. I don't like how big this area is. And the fact that last time we played this, we ran into like weird little crocodile things. So hold on. Before we go forward, I'm gonna actually turn the game up a little bit more because I think we had to like pump the sound when we played it before. Because for whatever reason, the menu's loud. There one on the ground over there? Oh no, that's a root. Fun fact, chat. Do you see the fact that all these mausoleums and sarcophagus and these are all above ground? Do y'all know why that is? There are gravestones here, which is highly unusual. But these aren't lined up to be graves. These are likely just memorial things. Flooding, yes. A flooding and the fact that because this is Louisiana and very obviously already in like the bayou or the swamp, the ground... Hello? I thought I heard a voice. I thought I heard a guy talk. Self-care sneaky? Okay, I'm sorry. The self-care is brought to you by Gamer Subs. Use code Dark Carnival. Save 10%, and I'm pretty sure if you like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, they're still doing a crossover with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But also, like I was saying, the reason that they have these here is because of flooding, but also because the ground is swampy. You can't really do anything underground when it comes to the soft mud of many swampy areas. It's why, like, they don't have basements. And most of the time, pipelines, things like pipeline stuff that are typically buried in northern areas are instead above ground, because if you build them underground, they'll eventually float up. And because I like giving goofy history lessons when you see these things, because these are the best times to do it. If you see this, this is sometimes called a an oven grave or like an oven tomb. Essentially, more often than not, this is actually for poor people. Sometimes they're like pauper graves, like these would probably be considered pauper graves. Essentially, you rent the space. When you die, you rent the space. They put you in one of these little sections, one of these little grids, and you get like 10 years. You get 10 years to decompose, typically. That's probably like the average number. And they come back after 10 years. They remove the plate that's on the front that's actually busted on most of these. And in the back is a chute. And they just brush you down. They just push you to the back and you fall down the chute. And then they throw in whatever next corpse comes along. However, they did kind of fall out of popularity in the United States during its... let's call it Catholic surge of like the 50s, because they started considering it quite... Oh, hello, something's over there. Disrespectful to be removing somebody from their tomb. So more often than not, if you find these in cemeteries, they're much too old and likely have not actually been rotated in decades. Yes, it's a corpse shelf. It's a rotting corpse shelf. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, I think the person who left already came back. Oh! I forgot I have to hold it. I only hit Q. That bitch just fucking chunked it, dude. She just chunked it. Hello?
It's been a while since I visited the family tomb. I hope it's in a better state than the real world.
Algernon Lyle Hartwood, industrialist and diviner. May 12th, 1828, died February 27th, 1900. At Multi Salpe Vera. Oh, it's Latin. I didn't realize that. I thought it was saying that he died at this place. No, it's in Latin. Viticinate ut Cassandra. Hello. Oh, it's a handle. Oh, that's a wooden coffin on its side. I was like, why is there a wooden bench in here? It's not a bench. Hello? Can I, like, look at this? Yep, that's a dude. Hello? Hello? I'm also not 100% certain, but they said this is a family tomb. And you can tell that there's tons of names up here. So it makes me think that this tomb, like this one sarcophagus, they just bury the most recently dead in it. Why are there extra coffins in here? Does it look foggier over there? What happens when the corpse pile gets to the top? More than likely they have a way to clean it. They may brush it out or anything. But the thing with bones is over time they degrade into... Oh shit, what was is it T? No, G? Okay, hold on. Options. Because I remember the flashlight controls being fucking weird, dude. V. Who in God's name decided that V was the flashlight button? Okay, hold on. There was something... Ooh, hello. Was it you? Okay, yeah, it looks like it was just this guy that we could interact with. Hello. The Blessing, key item. Tab. Can I? No, I can't. I can't rotate it. This one's not a 3D item. It's literally just...
What's this?
Stop. More Latin. I can't read it quite well enough.
What's that for? There we go.
Oh, I got the fire poker. Never mind. Oh god, wait, what are the buttons? Hold on. I forget the buttons for combat. I forgot the buttons for combat. What's the melee button? Melee, dodge, space, okay. Aim, right click, range attack, left click, reload. Why did they... Weapon 1, 1. Weapon 4, hold 1? Huh? Shotgun. Okay, I don't have weapon 3. I don't have weapon 4. I completely forgot the button already for... F. Okay. Oh, I did that earlier. Duh. But... something is right there. It looks like a Molotov, but hold on. Before we go this way, I want to go this way because it... Ooh. My PC just made a noise. Play the Korean game that was announced yesterday, Looting Two Hearts, I think is what it's called. It looked interesting. I still can't get over how they fucking did the Black Ops 7 trailer. I'm still upset over that. That looks like... oh, no, that's a brick. Shotgun shells? Hell yeah, Keikona. I'm excited for Ninja Gate. Thank you. God, that was loud. Why did it suddenly solo leveling game? The solo leveling game has already been out. The solo leveling game is already a mobile game. Can I walk through here? I also should have known from the fact that there was a, what was it? That there was a brick there that I was probably gonna have to use it. I imagine this game is probably like very sneakable. Hi, buddy. Oh, shit. Hello, bitch! Oh my god, that was way too fucking long. That was, I saw those bricks there. I was like, I don't trust that. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Notes. Yeah, it looks like we need 3.
This is the chapel in Jeremy's book. It looks like I need more medallions to open it. I'm not sure I have everything I need.
Okay, yeah, I definitely don't. So, I know that there's that one section over there, but I want to go back here to see if there's something else. Is getting sued by Nintendo? Of course it is! Did you see that fucking game? I'm pretty sure it's the same. I tried looking it up, but I didn't see the developers. Is it the same company that made Palworld? Because it looks exactly like fucking Palworld, where it's just a whole bunch of styles of 3D models slammed into one game, and it looks like trash. It looks like hot fucking dude. Jesus, birds. Hi, Sin. Sorry I didn't say hi to you earlier. I missed that 11 minutes ago. That statue is so fucking big. Why is it so big? Okay. Ooh. Oh, neat. That's become a whole genre now. It's so fucking annoying, dude. It's bad game making. It's lazy game making. Sure, the creatures may be like custom made, but the whole game has this energy of, yeah, we're just gonna use the base Unreal Engine to like generate the landscapes and the trees and stuff, and then we'll just slam in all of these game systems that we bought. It'll be fine. I kind of just want to get rid of it. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of just want to wait for it to come back because I see that other guy over there. I should theoretically, if he comes running, theoretically have enough time to kill this guy. So we'll just wait for him to come back, because then killing him in this area will be a little easier. I don't like the voices! Oh, shit. Thanks, boss. Reload. Okay, he's still pacing over there. That's good. But of course there were also those fucking mold dudes waiting around here. Oh, there's a rock right there and I totally missed it. Okay. We're not really finding a whole lot of ammo. Which I don't like. It's like no Molotovs. There's no ammo. I'm sneaking. Okay, you don't have a disc. I think the annoying thing is, I don't know if this monster can see. So I kind of want to wait for him to path back around. Okay. Okay, then we can get in here. Please and thank you. Don't scream at me, don't scream at me, don't scream at me.
Yeah.
Fuck. Door? Hello? I don't like this. It's the game about my life? What do you mean it's about your life? Are you part of a cult? That's a lot of things to throw. Why are there so many supplies here? Why are there so many supplies here? You hear him? Chat, do you hear him? He's stuck, but if I hit him, he's gonna turn around and he's not gonna be stuck. This is gonna be locked, isn't it? You know what? Apparently it's just gonna be a cool room. Well, shit. Oh, I have full ammo. Neat. Okay, I am reloaded, right? Yeah. See rats. I don't like having to take this so slow. I really don't. Hello. More shotgun shells. Excellent. Seems like it may be that one guy that was stuck that's here. Wait, did I lose my fire poker? How do I check if I have my fire poker? Inventory? I think my fire poker broke. So. Ooh. Amner. Something's right there. Should have known. I'm sure this is fine. I'm sure I can just go right past him. Oh, he goes back into the smoke. Gib disc. The omen. Oh, fuck. The omen? The blessing and the omen? It's shotgun time. I did not like how long it took us to find that. Dare I open this? Oh, oh, he's still stuck. So we do know that's actually the direction that we were looking at before, so... Oh no. But that means there's gotta... Oh no, my fire poker was still fine. Ah, okay, we'll keep the sledgehammer. We'll keep the sledgehammer. I'm sorry for sneaking around so much, chat, but I'm getting nervous because of how many things just kind of fucking appear around corners. On that hamster? Wait, what are we talking? Hamster? What? Free throws? Oh god, not the brick! A lot of games get labeled as Souls-likes because of the most basic RPG mechanics. Because it's... Wait, what are you calling a Souls-like? I don't like Souls-like because they feel like... Oh, what the fuck are you? Gotcha, bitch. Oh, fuck that one. Oh, there's two of you. Ow. Ow, dude. I forgot the, hold on. I forgot the key. I forgot the key for healing. I think it's H, but I don't know for sure. Consume? Ah. Oh, did the big... Oh, he went down. Oh, I didn't reload. Actually, you know what? We're loaded with pistol bullets. Thank God. Okay. All right, we can go this way now. Oh, this is a fancy pantsy little mausoleum. Oh, cool. I'm sure that's fine. What the fuck is up, titties? Boy, descending into the bowels. Yes, hello, I'm here to argue that you would not have built a mausoleum under another mausoleum in fucking Louisiana. Alright, which one of these coffins is gonna explode into one of the fungus dudes? Chat, which one do you think it's gonna be? Or never mind, we can just find a double door. Excellent. Okay, there we go. So they do have specific slots. Okay, if that door was supporting the structure of this whole thing, I'm gonna be upset. Oh, what the fuck, dude? Why is there fucking bone walls? John, I'm not gonna lie, I was almost not gonna come back to this game. Just because it felt like its scares were like really cheap. But I really want to play a puzzly horror game. So here we are. Oh, and I don't think I told y'all, oh. But I finished Blueprints off stream. I accidentally had like one really good run. Freddy Fartballs? No. No, you may not. You may not recommend that. Oh, hi! Oh, hi! Oh, what the fuck? Let me out!
I'm out of bullets.
Ow, dude! Ah, fuck me, dude. What the shit was that? I don't like that. Almost another abandoned carnival game. I mean, I want to enjoy the games I'm playing. Damn, we kind of butchered them too. I'm not gonna lie. All right, we're gonna get this ammo. Oh, there wasn't ammo this time. And then that wall's gonna explode. And then we're just gonna fucking hoof it!
Yeah! There's too many, I have to run.
There's the fucking hustle, my dude! Okay. Okay, that was not fightable. That shit definitely was not fightable. Whew. This is too easy. Try to get to a Just Chatting streamer, no more games to play. No! I still have plenty of games to play. Fungus dude sitting right there. Nah, I think it's just webs. The sacrifice. Oh.
There we go.
Hello. Hello. Oh, wait, what was that? Oh, I guess it was nothing. Please don't jump scare me at the top of the ladder. Please don't jump scare me at the top of the ladder. Ah, okay, this was the gate that was to the side that we didn't touch.
I made it out.
I totally did not see this hole here earlier. Also the candles, the beautiful candles. No, we are not going to play Freddy Fartballs. Oh, wait. No, it's not. Oh, this is the one that was at the end that we couldn't open. It was like right behind it. We went through the other gate. Okay. So. I don't see an obvious indicator here.
No, that's not right.
So, oh, it just automatically puts them all back in. But nope. No? Okay, hold on.
No, that's not right.
Okay, let's go look at the items real quick. You. Lost Allegory. All of these marked as with a lost allegory. Yep. Wait, I have an idea. Do we have, was it, there it is. It's literally on the page. Lambert, finger pointing up. Okay. I was gonna say, they always do that where they hide it. Ah, the coins overlap too. Okay. Cutscene? Murder! Murder! She's dead. No. Oh, she's the one from the art commune that's at the house, isn't she? The one that's like, nah, she can't be that old.
Emily, is that you?
Jeremy,
What are you doing here?
well, you sounded so miserable in your letter. I've come to take you away from here.
Oh, this is the
I
uncle.
can't believe I made such a foolish mistake. All I wanted was for you to stay away.
What do you mean?
I bargained with the Dark Man. A pact to keep New Orleans safe with my own life.
New Orleans as a whole? And what is
Dark
your
Man
soul
isn't
word
real,
man
Jeremy.
to
There's
for the
nothing
whole
you can do
city
to
of New
hurt him.
Orleans?
How do you think any of this is happening?
Bonsai
How do
tree
you
seeds.
still
We'll hope
not
you're ready to
trust
take
my
care of it in
words?
30 years.
Fine. Then let me help.
Don't be foolish. He will bury you next to me in his sunken temple for an eternity.
I don't care. I'll find a way. I have my own talisman, and I know about Tarawea.
Oh, wait, don't speak.
Spooky man and spooky mask.
Who's in here? Show yourself.
You know who, Emily? He took your grandfather.
No, I mean it. Who's in here? I can feel someone's in here.
Ooh. That looked like trash,
Emily.
dude. That looked like trash. Are you serious? He phases through the wall in an alcove? Oh my god, did she krill herself?
Why do you want to go there, Jeremy?
Shit, I can't pause it, chat. I can't pause the cutscene. Why is it with this game we always end up in a cutscene when the ad break starts? Huh?
I've seen so many strange occurrences
No,
lately.
pause. All right. Let's get the words on stream going. I need to run to the bathroom. Because I got a pisk. Dude. All right. I'll be back in a minute, chat. Enjoy the words on stream. Don't burn anything down. Right? You're not going to burn anything down? Just got a love letter off that guy from Ghost. What? Y'all game over it at level 3? What the fuck happened? What did you do? How could you guys? How could you? There's already only here we'll go a little smaller. 8 seconds left. 8 seconds left. So we're gonna go ahead and put this away. No more music. And then welcome back from the ad break, guys. Welcome back from the ad break. Then we can listen to
I've
this.
seen so many strange occurrences lately. Memories explode into existence and then burn out.
Special breaks brought to you by GamerSubs.
Dreamscapes crash down from the stars and sink into the sea. Doors that lead to nowhere and absolutely everywhere at once.
Hard tag.
With all this reverie, I want to think there's a chance that you found
Okay,
a
but
way
why
to
did the
remain
lady-
alive
why did the
in some
flapper
way
lady
I
have
cannot
this?
fathom. Just like I've learned to navigate with my talisman, maybe you, with all your knowledge, you somehow knew a way to find me again, perhaps in Terroria. All my love, Jeremy.
Okay, so that was a letter meant for... Oh, it's the luggage case. Yes.
I need
Okay,
to find out more about Jeremy's pact with the Dark Man.
hold on.
He meant to
There's...
go to Tarawaya. Maybe there is something there that would help.
This bed wasn't in this room last time we were here, was it? I'm almost certain this bed wasn't here at all. I'm pretty sure this room was empty.
She was beautiful. I wonder what happened to her.
Because we've already seen this.
The Astarte Artist Colony. I'm pretty sure they had a Mardi Gras crew called the Pirates of Pontchartrain when I was a child.
Pontchartrain. Whoops. Pull out the shotgun. Who's got the heat? I got the heat. All right, hold on. Okay. We need to go back to his room, which is, I believe it's that one right there next to the rug. Why play words for no rewards? Ordained, but all you do is try to burn things down. Yeah, I need to get y'all another luggage right there. The steamer trunk. That is a big hat. Oh, it's the lens. Okay. Where was the...
It's a telescope lens.
Downstairs.
Oh, why would he lock it in here?
Yeah. I remember being downstairs in the... Actually, hold on. What is the fastest way? Drawing room, drawing room. Okay, through the library downstairs. Okay. I do kind of like these, like, peaceful moments where it feels like it's, like, puzzling stuff out, where it's, like, broad daylight. So you get, like, this little bit of relaxation. The thing that I hate, though, is whenever you, like, it does, like, these transition moments. And it's absolutely fucking horrifying. We gonna get the cat scare? No, no cat scare this time? I could have sworn that shit was automated. Hello? Anybody around? Anybody at all? Daylight? I was told there would be darkness? Yeah, but I'm only alone when it's dark. Don't you understand? Are you still broken? Also cookies! Or is there just food about this mansion? Oh yeah, there it is. It's still broken. Alright, Barlow time. Oh. Oh. Oh, I can also just move the mouse. Neat. I don't like moving the mouse for this. Like, see that glare right there, like, appears? See, there it is. Oh, there we go. My eyes! Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Fuck, dude. Hey, buddy. You're not a buddy, you're a statue. You're a statue too. Okay, looks like the only thing I can do in here is this puzzle. Okay. 947.
Wait, what's going on?
Oh, it's
entering the
941.
numbers by itself? Okay, great. So where is that?
Dining room? Dining room fireplace? Shut up. I don't know if that broken radio is intentional or if it's... More flashbangs! My eyes! Actually, hold on. Where was... We need to... I don't remember where the dining room is. Maybe it's the grand parlor? But that's locked. Oh, okay. I know where we have to go. Oh, I forgot that we'd opened the way through up here. Servants' quarters. Open here. Go through here. Into the mezzanine. Oh, maybe this isn't right. These are the right lamps, but hold on. Let's see. Dining room. Sitting room? No. Clerk's office. It says we're not done with the small parlor, but kitchen, garden, boiler room, laundry room. Is there really no dining room in here? Food and wine cellar. Maybe it was the small parlor. Maybe I was just way off. I swear that first picture looked like a dining room or something, but I guess we can go back. Go through here. Oh, I went the wrong direction. Got turned around. Got turned around. Here. We'll check the sitting room because it says we're not done there. This is 99.99 euros more expensive. What? This we're still missing.
There's something missing.
France. We're missing France for some reason. Hold on a second. Okay, we haven't gotten to Dr. Gray's apartment. Everything else is fine, but I guess it's just that globe that we're missing. So we haven't found that puzzle piece yet. See, there's these lamps. Okay, let's go back. Maybe I ran right past it and it was actually the small parlor that was right next to us. I think that's what it was. I'm starting to think that's what it was. Where is that light coming from? Darn, it was worth a shot. All right. Here, go down. Go back through the library. Hello. Go in here. Nope, that is not it. But apparently we're missing something in here. But I don't know what it is. We'll probably figure it out later. Maybe it has something to do with that broken radio. We don't miss the French Mayor and don't go looking for them. We got it. It's part of the puzzles. Okay. I wonder. Let me do this real quick. We go here. Can I? No. I can't look at it again. Where's my objective? Objectives.
Was this dream of Tarawea without a
Oh, it does say
couch?
dining room.
A place for rest and comfort.
Where was the... Oh. Over here? How did I fucking miss that? I'm blind. French! Ah! Also, that fucking statue, dude. I swear to God. Okay, we still have our hammer.
Ah, here we go.
Okay. But the light, chat. The light. All right, where's it sending us? Please go to New Orleans. Please send us to New Orleans. Ooh, chapter 3. Okay. Hello? New Orleans courtyard? Broad daylight. Let's go. Broad daylight. Don't know who this dude is.
You should not have come, Emily.
How do you know my name? Have we met?
In a manner of speaking. As a manifestation of Yermi's deepest desires, I am to you unfamiliar.
Huh?
Yet I know of you.
Are you missing the
Jeremy?
tooth?
Is that what you're saying?
I am only his subconscious thoughts. I cannot speak for his totality.
How come you have a Spanish accent? And what is this place? Is this Tarawea?
This is indeed the fabled convent of Tarawea, where
Convent?
Yermi goes to find peace during his sessions with Dr. Gray.
It's all fantasy then.
Based on the
Oh,
things
are we
he has
ignoring
read
the
us-
why do you have a Spanish
that
accent
includes you.
moment?
Yes. My name is Juan Luis Jorge. Yermi once read a book of mine. It stuck with him.
Oh,
Can you help me break
that's
the pact
fucking
with the
goofy,
Dark Man
dude.
so we can leave Dorsetto?
That's a
Jeremy
fucking
doesn't want you
goofy, dude.
He wants to honor his word to the
Wait, is
Dark
that an
Man.
Inferno reference?
Why?
Is that
What's the
Dante's
point?
Inferno
I don't
reference?
understand what the pact is for.
I
The people
really
of
like this
Dorsetto are
poet, so
calling
he went on
upon
an
evil
adventure
to
through
enter
me
this
with me
world.
through hell.
Your uncle offered his soul to the Dark Man to contain this disaster.
What?
Oh my god, this is just
No,
a
that doesn't make
just
any
another
sense.
fucking
The
Dante's
pact
Inferno
will be
allegory,
fulfilled
isn't
at
it?
dawn. As the
This
sun
entire
rises,
game is just a Dante's Inferno
Yermi will
allegory.
forever be entombed in his sunken desert temple. As promised, the Dark Man shall quarantine and starve the evil inside their settle.
What about all the patients and the staff?
They will not stand a chance.
That's unacceptable.
there's another
How could
evil-
Jeremy agree to this?
Desperation, of course. Yermi did not choose martyrdom lightly.
Well,
So
nothing
wait,
is
there's
lost
an evil
yet.
in
I'm sure I can
in
find a way to
Dorsetto,
break the pact
and
save
it's not
Jeremy.
the Dark Man.
And hopefully the people at Dorsetto. What even is this evil you're talking about?
I don't know much. I think some nightmarish entity from the bayou.
I'll just have to deal with that later. First, I have to get Jeremy out of his deal. What? Did you run out of arguments?
You're actually quite inspiring, Miss Emily. If we put Yermi's feelings aside, I would have to say I agree with you.
Really?
You might just be able to save the old man from himself. I think you should take a look in the convent library. Try to find the truth about Yermi's relationship
Okay.
with the Dark Man.
Okay.
Grady
You
Reed?
should
What do you
know
mean?
that you won't be alone
What do you mean,
in those
Bazant?
grand halls.
Bazanti!
The Dark Man has been reading those
Sorry.
books for years.
Sorry.
He's here?
You'll have to be very careful.
Of
Oh,
course.
great. Now do I have to sneak
I-
my way to the library?
I can be careful.
Good luck, Miss Emily.
I don't like this. I don't like this. You make me uncomfortable. Especially with the overly modern sweater. Okay. It looks like I can talk to him again. Hold on, I want to see.
What is the Dark Man, do you know?
The Black Sun. The stalker among the stars. The crawling chaos.
Okay, Crawling Chaos gives it away.
No. Neither I nor Jeremy knows what he truly is.
None of these doors seem open. This door does, though. This door does. Hi, B. How was your stream? Do you have a good time? No, Captain. Don't go outside the sub neck. Wait, what were you playing? Oh, Barotrauma. Yeah, that'll do it. Oh, okay. It just spits me into the library. Oh, hello? Fucking hole in the ground. Seriously? I don't actually like sit down and like read a bunch of books to figure something out. I instead find out that I have to fucking drop down instead. Awful. Terrible. I hate it. This isn't a TTRPG. I can't spend the next 7 hours scrounging through. This is the exact same tomb. Yeah, this is the same tomb as what we went through before. I'm kind of happy it's daylight, but I feel like the more I say that, the more they're going to tear it away from me at a moment's notice. Oh. A mural? Oh no, it's a fabric mural. Is this the real... Oh my god. Is this the real library? Spent 6 hours researching? Correct. This is how you play mage. Oh. Oh, it was on the other side. It's tapestry. That's... one of the angels. Who has the arrow out of the angels? I don't recognize the art piece off the top of my head. Sorry for the French. The French scared me. The French scared you away. How could you? There is a rendition of what looks like the Last Supper. Nothing on that wall. There's a ladder up there for some reason. Okay.
There's something missing.
Okay. What are you pointing at? Wow, you are tall, dude. Hello? Remember, guys, no fighting in the library. Why did it just save? That doesn't seem right. Right? Y'all see that, right? There's a gap. That's intentional, right? That has to be intentional. Please tell me that's intentional. Okay. Ooh.
Great library was endless, beautiful, and
A great library.
Akashic record for the universe inside the mind of Jeremy Hartwood, now corrupted by a story forced upon him, told by a maniacal liar,
Whose voice is this? Is this the doctor?
conjured by science and secrecy.
It's in the atrium? Oh my god,
I
no.
will suspend a room and lock away the foundation of his character.
Turns Jourdain into Bon Jourdain? Oh my
Be
god.
left to the
Bon Jourdain?
librarian, the only thing invisible to the Prowler.
To the Prowler? Okay, so the librarian has the key. Hey, look, there's blood. Neat. He's pointing up to... It looks like it has something to do with the room that's up there. But I'm nosy, so I gotta look. I gotta look. Ah, there's another one here. It's covered. Why is it covered? I'm guessing that we're gonna slide down later, maybe? What happens when you're not silent in the library? Screw silencer onto pistol. Buckle up, Buttercup. So I imagine we're not going to find the librarian until we get to, like, the top floor. Oh, fuck, there's a hole. I don't want to go in there, dude. I don't want to go in there. Here, we're going to go do this first. Oh, hey. Key of Hubertus. Okay. is there darkness swirling up next to me? Oh, hi, handsome.
It's the Dark Man.
Get down. Keep going. Let's get some hustle. Let's get some hustle. I don't like this. I don't like this. Oh! Wait, do I need to go back up? Oh, I fucked up. I do not like this audio work. This audio work fucking hurts my ears, dude. Oh, it's literally fucking peaking OBS. Hold on. Oh, you're shitting me. Just go away. Hoof it, bitch! Hoof it! Oh, I'm stuck. What am I stuck on? Hello? Wait. That wasn't broken before, was it? Wait, I'm confused. What am I? Hold on, I need to turn this down. This is fucking grating. What happens if you're not silent? Yeah. Okay, I think I need to go back in there because I think there's a key in the room. I can see it right there. I can see it right there. So we're gonna wait for him to come back out. Hi, Dave. Thank you for the lurk. Hoof it, bitch. Hoof it, bitch. Hoof it, bitch. Please don't come in here. Please don't come in here. Hey, buddy. Okay. Wasn't there was a hole in the wall somewhere. Are you going? That's fine. There's the hole. Let me in. Ooh. Nice. Can I see anything through? It doesn't look like it. Okay, he's way over there. Hi, sir. Oh. Okay, I'm missing something. What are we missing? Here, fuck it. We'll just take the ladder. I still have the key. I'm pretty sure I still have the key, so we're probably missing. Let me double check. We'll do this. Yeah, I still have the key, so we're missing something. Something. Ready? He is a very stinky monster. See, this wall's still normal. There he is. Oh! Was there another one down here that I completely missed? I don't... Okay, so... I think we have to go up. Steals the key, bitch. The fuck you did. The fuck you did. Okay, I think what we're missing is somewhere up here. Like maybe there's two interconnected pathways. That we're like missing or something. But on this floor, so we came up that staircase. On the other path. So it makes me think... Oh, there's the ladder. It dropped behind me and I totally missed it. Okay, when he comes back out again, we're gonna run behind him. This guy's not so ominous. Right now, he's not. I think right now, I don't know if it's like he's never supposed to notice us or if we're just very lucky and he's very blind. Let's go. Oh, other side. Hustle, bitch, hustle. Up here already, I'm pretty sure. No? Yay? Ray? Oh, I hated that. Also, there's the skull that was in Jeremy's room. Skull sculpture, if you will. I'm also kind of hitting tab. Kind of hitting tab to see if there's any special items I can pick up. There's the save icon again. Really? No extra super secret items. What about this? Can I? Nope. Can't squeeze through that. Hello? Hello? Well, that doesn't bode well.
Ah, here we go.
Okay. Okay, I still get to keep the keys, so there's something about this. A book! Really? I just flapped through it?
It was in the hot autumn that I went through the night with the restless crowds.
Were you
I was a
reading
kind
aloud
of
to?
Itinerant showman who held forth in public halls and aroused widespread fear. The New Orleans address of the event is lost, but I remember distinctly the Prext Shipping Company pressing their contribution.
I see your ass back there. Wow, look at that handsome devil.
Please, no.
I hope you found what you were looking for, Emily. I fear there is no going back.
He's in my head, Juan. His breath replacing mine.
Is what?
You should not have come, Emily.
What the fuck does that mean, dude? What elevator is this? Why is there an Art Deco elevator? Oh, hello. A bar?
Well, if it isn't my new best friend. Come, join me for some giggle water.
Giggle water. Absinthe? Is giggle water absinthe?
Oh, Miss Hotwood, don't tell me you've been out swinging without me.
Ruth?
Oh,
what is
Miss
this place?
Hotwood.
Where are we?
Have you never been to the Maccabean before? Goodness me. Tell me, Miss Hotwood, have you ever considered going out for an evening?
Oh, it's kind of neat. I kind of like
we
it.
in New Orleans?
Oh, who can tell anymore?
Luna
I
Shadow
just
Strike,
went
thank you for the
inside
follow. Welcome
grand parlor
in.
and suddenly here I am.
It must be the elevator.
Grand parlor?
Yeah, only a elevator would take you
Can I
to
get back
an
to do
Art
center
Deco
Are you
absinthe club.
sure you want to? We could stay here and drink
Gin
the night
fizz.
away. How about a gin fizz?
That is not a gin fizz. That is whiskey. Are you gonna make a gin fizz?
If
All
this
right,
is
I
New
better see
Orleans,
egg
maybe I
whites.
should go further.
You did not open
Magic
that.
show the book was talking about.
You did not open that.
There was no address, just Prext Shipping Company.
Oh, is this about where Jeremy met the Dark Man?
How do you know about that?
I like that she was so ready with the
Jeremy
matches
talks
to
a
light her
lot about
smoke.
The Dark Man. I always felt a bit
Quick, somebody look up
envious.
what giggle water is. Is
How
it
so?
absinthe or is it gin?
If
think
an
it's Jen, actually.
all-powerful entity showed me any interest, I'd at least hear him out. I'm sure he has plenty to offer.
That sounds
I don't think you'd want that,
foreshadowing.
Ruth. We're too sweet for such darkness.
Oh, please.
Gay.
What kind of
Gay.
blue nose do you take me for? I relish the darkness. I think it suits me.
I mean, she is kind of a flapper, so
You don't happen to know how to find the
Mountain's
Prext
bartender's
Shipping
getting pissed. That's not a gin fizz.
Of course.
That's
That
a
often
whiskey
keeps me
sour.
covered
Oh,
in-
hello.
Whoa, what happened?
You just got lucky. A bientôt, Mademoiselle Emily.
Hey, do you know where my uncle is?
No, but I bet you're close.
The dress on her butt freaking out. Escape the Dark Man. Matchbook. Don't mind if I do. Oh, nice. No, nice. Wow, we're really still missing a lot of things here. I think you get, I don't remember for sure, but I think you get, let me see, Forbidden Knowledge, unlocks Shotgun Cabinet, Secret Objective, Forbidden Knowledge. Bull worship is common throughout history. For Christians,
Bull worship is common throughout history. For Christians, this can be
the
seen in
same is.
Exodus
It's just
when
how close they are and how
Israelites
nice they
turned
are to each
worship the
other.
golden calf in Moses' absence.
Listen, it's
This passage
fine.
shows
It's
the people
fine. Also,
falling
Ordain,
back
give me
to
my
the
fucking key
worship
back.
witnessed in Egypt, known as the Hapis bull. Another famous example is the Minoans on the island of Crete. Their worship of the bull gave rise to the myth of the Minotaurus, the half-man, half-bull
doesn't sound right.
monster that reigned the labyrinth. But for this particular case,
Maybe?
I
I'm
think I
still
should
pretty
tell
sure
you
that
about
doesn't
the
sound right.
deity Astarte that brought the Taurus constellation to life to attack Gilgamesh. Even for a mythical hero, this celestial bull would prove difficult to defeat. Only by distracting the bull.
Why is
with
this
a
called
golden sail
Forbidden
was Gilgamesh
Knowledge?
able to pierce an eye with the spear, which bled the bull to death.
Maybe it's a hint to something later? Like, this is Great Depression. And a beignet! I forgot we picked up a beignet.
As the world moved into the new decade, America was spiraling into a maelstrom of debt, drought, and death. It was called the Great Depression and ruined many families. It was a fitting name, for poverty also breeds madness through desperation.
Yeah, this just tells us that Jeremy was still sad. But I think this is this one. The lone and lost walk the land of fear. When there's nothing you recognize or no one to trust, you prepare for the worst. Something is coming, you best be ready. Take the gun in the parlor, give them hell. Okay. And this one lies southwest of Derceto along the Great Mississippi River. Its old town, the French Quarter, or Le Vieux-Carré, is the home of the proud and often rich Creoles. Wrapped around the center, you'll find a large and eccentric city full of people, including the most mundane dock workers, reckless gangsters, jazz-crazed flappers, and of course the mysterious voodoo people. At night, you can stand on the lakeside of Derceto and watch New Orleans glow like embers in the horizon. I'm disappointed by this. Oh.
It was in the hot autumn that I went through.
Oh,
the
we
night
took the
with
book.
Restless crowds to witness the enigmatic Black Pharaoh. He was a kind of itinerant showman.
Rumors of an Egyptian sarcophagus. The Dark Man's going to be Nylothotep, isn't he?
Craig's Shipping Company. According to the book in the Great Library, they assisted a showman performing somewhere in New Orleans. It's somehow connected to Jeremy's introduction to the Dark Man. I'm sure I can find the address inside.
Something's a fuck. Oh, that's a brick. I thought it was ammo because I'm stupid. Okay. Also, I have very little health, so I'm just gonna go ahead. Delicious. Was right. I can't see shit. Hiya! Come here. Bitch! Bitch! Anyway, please and thank you. Which Silent Hill is this? This is Alone in the Dark, although it does kind of play like Silent Hill. Oh, it looks like there was just some supplies back here. Oh. Machine gun cartridge, you say? Okay, so there's a gun to find around here. Good to know. Chat, we don't leave until we get the gun. And no, Ordain, you don't get to borrow the gun. Before Ordain asks. Where did you fucking come from, dude? Come here. Come on. No. No. Ooh, that's a health potion. Okay. I'm just glad we haven't had any... Oh, son of a bitch. Listen, when you got a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Also, I heard him in there, so it was like, I hear you, you rat fucking bastard. Hello.
There has to be another way inside.
Yeah, there's keys. Map? Hell yeah. Oh, what do we got? Sewer entrance. Okay. Okay, so this is the harbor master's office. So I'm guessing...
There's a way through the sewers.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through the fucking sewers, nerd. Okay, but there's gotta be a different way into the harbor master's, right? Right. I see your ass over there. I also see this health potion. Gimme. Let's go, shit sticks. You and me. Bitch. Ammo. That's a brick. That's a Molotov. I don't want to go to... Oh, okay. It doesn't look like we can get to the sewers anyway. So... For ammo, don't mind if I do. Go ahead and reload that shit. Okay. More ammo. Ammo, brick. Molotov. Makes me think that there's gonna be something here.
I need the key.
Ah, a fucking course. Okay, so we're gonna run back. It's very funny to me how many fucking just stray Molotovs are about. Okay, there's nothing here. There's a window. Oh, that's another hammer. Actually, let's take that hammer, because that hammer has more durability. Yeah. Always got to keep one close, you never know. Hey, look, a brick. Can I throw it at this window? Damn it. Locked. Okay. I know there's supplies in the harbor master thing. Aha. Yeah. That was a very long animation. Wolfsky, thank you for the... Oh, thank you for renewing your season pass. Holy shit. Or is that your first one? Oh, it's your first one. Oh, shit. Thank you for sending me your Bezos bucks. Remember, chat, if you don't spend your Bezos bucks, Jeff Bezos wins. I always love these desks. At my grandparents' house in Louisiana, they have a desk just like it. I fucking love it. It's so cool. Whenever I would visit for like Thanksgiving and stuff, that's where I would sit to do homework because it made me feel very grown up. Stevedores keys. Stevedore? Is that a person's name or is that the type of crane? The crows are getting louder, right? That's not just me. Oh, son of a bitch, dude. Come here. I killed you once, I'll do it again. All right, where's the one? Okay, he's still there. Never mind, that's a new one. Okay, let's go see if that's the key that we need. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I feel like... Okay, that is the right one. Okay.
All
Hello?
done.
Wait, did y'all hear that? Did y'all heard that, right? Oh! Oh, fuck. Your mouse! Mouse! Come here! Bitch! Not allowed! Alright, who's next? Is basically a dock worker? Oh. I'm surprised I'd never heard that term. I'm guessing it's an old term that nobody, like... Oh, you're fucking joking, dude. Oh. Nope. What the shit, dude? Ow. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Here, have a chug. Let's go. We're going for a run. That's a brick. Go up. Go up the stairs. Go up the stairs. There's a box there that I didn't notice before. What is up with this game now suddenly throwing just mobs of things at me whenever I feel like I have, like, plenty of ammo? And then I just have to blow all my ammo? Okay. Was he down? He's not down. Where'd he go? Hear him. Ah, there he is. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come in the line of sight. Did he go back? Oh, he did go back. You know what? Let's just beat his ass like a fucking Cherokee drum. I guess technically there's only one left. We could probably sneak. I was thinking maybe that there was a different way. Like maybe there was like loot I was missing or something. But... Also, I just realized, are those giant maggots and not like tentacles? I'm pretty sure that's a mass of maggots. More skeletons to smash through? I would not fucking doubt it, dude. But I am so low on ammo, it's not even funny anymore. I have no shotgun ammo. I'm having flashbacks to Dishonored. Okay. I don't think technically I have a map. I could look at this. So... we just came in here. I want to go here, because I feel like maybe we'll find the shotgun, not the shotgun, the machine gun over there. Can I step in this water? We're Dane! Oh. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, hell yeah. Gimme. Gimme. Holy shit, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, Ordain. AOL. Amazing. Okay. Well, we got a buddy down there. Let's not wake him up. I don't like where this is going. Hello? I was really hoping for... That's another brick. Why is there a brick down here? It wasn't behind me. He was ahead of me. He ran across the grate in front of me. Seriously, dude? Oh, you're really just gonna stand there? Fuck, dude. Alright. Come here. Oh, cool. Of course it broke. Oh, there's a ladder right there. Okay. Hello? Okay, that was where I saw the other guy. All right, where is this going to spit us out? I think I got turned around, but I'm kind of hoping this is the dock worker area. This is inside the warehouse. Fuck.
All right. I made it inside the warehouse. Now let's find that address.
Fuck. Take those, but... Chat, do we go back down or do we just keep progressing forward? Wait, we got a Nekomata in here? No, there's no... Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean? Scurry, scurry behind you? You mean Nekomata as in, like, the gun from Cyberpunk, or Nekomata as in, like, cat person? I hear yo ass. I hear yo ass. Oh, do we go back down? I kind of want to go back down. Because there's like 2 other places that we can end up in. And we ended up in the last one we wanted to go to. Like, there's this whole other warehouse over here, and then there's this small building. And because it's telling me that there's cartridges, it makes me think that there's other places to explore. We're also a minute 20 from ad break. Okay. Here, we can put a little hustle in because we kind of killed everything up until that other guy that's just kind of chilling there. Okay. So at least we know where the gate... Oh, it's the brick. Okay. So it's basically that first tunnel as soon as we drop in. Would go hard here, find a safe corner, just headshot everything else ahead of you with the game. Yeah. As compared to these types of weapons. Fuck you, you little weirdo. I'm pretty sure it's the skeleton one too. That's not like one of the fungal boys. Yeah. The way when I hit E, this is like... Oh, Shadow? Hello? The fuck was that? Oh, wait. Does this seem like a way we can go? Can I open this door? Okay, something's not right. Yeah, I think we can actually only go one direction. Right now, at least. All right. I'm gonna do a hard save while we're here, because I haven't done one. Yes, save over it. Okay. And then we are going to take a brief ad break, guys. I'm going... Oh! Oh, shit. We hit 8.6. Holy shit. All right. We mute the game audio. I'm going to give y'all this music. And we are going to be back in a couple more minutes. I got to hit the bathroom again. Hi, Cat. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for being 8.6. 8.6K. Yes, I'll be back in just a minute. Thank you guys so much for the follow. I will see you in just a few minutes. Next song. Oh my god, Huey Lewis in the news? Hell yeah, I'm leaving y'all with Huey Lewis in the news. Okie dokie. Sorry that took so long, you guys. Hello? Hello? All right. Oakley dokley. Wow, wait, that was the perfect time at the ending of fucking Power of Love by Huey Lewis in the news. All right. Hold on, what song is it about to play? No. Pause the music. Unmute the game music. And then we're gonna wait for y'all to finish this. All right. But what did I miss? Anything happen? Anybody burn anything down? Anybody set anything ablaze? Did y'all fail again? Did y'all fail again? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I can see you're lying. Can't sneak anything past me. Can't sneak anything past me, baby. Go ahead and try, Chan. Sunstar, you're not allowed to tell them any of the things that I missed about my own stream all the time. I set my toilet on fire? Why did you set your toilet on fire? My mind is a fog. My mind is a fuck. Hi, Monkey's uncle. All right. Sneak. Okay, let me also... Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Doesn't look like we're doing so good in the pushing department. Darn. Oh. I wanted to get the ice machine working in the carnival. That makes sense. That makes sense. To my birthday, which is also Father's Day. Cool. Okay. Put this away. Back to this. Resume. Yeah, it seems like I need to get another melee weapon when I can. Gonna lurk and cast Skrunkles on you? Well, thank you, queens. Yeah, it's we're not doing great. Since like... Oh, here, actually. You did not just get up, dude. You better not have just got up. Oh, we're fine. We're far enough away. Yeah, since like Wednesday, we haven't been hitting the mark. I think we need to work on something else. While we've been growing in follows a lot recently, folks aren't sticking around, and that shit happens. I understand. But maybe we need to do... I ain't going back to TikTok. I am not going back to TikTok. TikTok is fucking dead to me, dude. But maybe I need to just get off my fucking ass and actually start recording shit. There's nothing down here, right? Yeah, I don't see anything down there. All right. Maybe like one of these grates or something gets broken later. TikTok. I have one. I haven't used it in 6 months, probably. 6 months, something like... Oh, wait. Something behind me. Nope. Okay. Molotov. And I know I heard noises. Is that ammo? No, that's a brick. That's ammo. God, I can't see shit. Okay. What are you? A trumpet. Hey, let's go. Forbidden knowledge time.
Asleep.
Oh,
with an
1,000 young.
exercise mind,
Rip.
Yermi filtered these words from Darcetos, gangrenous ground. Ever their praises, and abundance to the black goat of the
Shugnigrath.
woods. Hear us, mother, and take
I never
pity
even
on
installed
us.
TikTok. I had to
Accept our
download it again for
sacrifice
some
and
reason, but now I
judge
can't remember
our worth.
why.
Yeah.
But I don't use it. I use Xiaohongshu.
Yeah. Shubnigrath, the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young.
Yeah, we already knew that. We already knew that. I'm pretty sure it's the tree that's in the garden of Delceto. Okay. I wonder when we'll start seeing things that actually kind of look like... Huh. I mean, there's a Molotov right there, but... A fire poker? Okay. Where was the sound of that monster coming from earlier? Is he in here? Maybe it was just an audio glitch. Maybe it was the one that was underneath us in the sewer. Also, I like the lighting in this room. It looks really cozy. Hello? I'm like peeking. Why is there a meat cleaver here? Hello? Hello? That's 11 machine gun. Oh, hey, there's the machine gun. Don't mind if I fucking do, dude.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Okay. That's the cross. But it's in... Oh, interesting. Okay, hold on, let me see. John Marcus. 1918. Where did I get this ring? Here, let's try that really quick. I assume this is gonna function under the same rules as like a usual turn thing, so... Oh, wait. So 1... 9... 1... 8. Nope, nothing? Okay. I wonder... Oh. Ah... I hit play and it says it's playing something, but it doesn't actually say anything. What the hell? Now I gotta go full round. Surprised they never did a Quake remake. I remember that from South Park. Oh, good lord. Kind of wish ID Software would let Doom sit for a moment and give us the Quake 1 remake, because this remaster deserves. The game was peak at its time. I don't know. I think Doom Dark Ages is pretty fucking cool, dude. Ship was raidable at dock. All of his things were recovered, but blood was shed. Several men were carried to the Mississippi River and drowned by the ones who live in the deep. All items have been signed and delivered. Now best keep the papers safe. What is left? Later is right. And hell is back again. Okay. 4 to the left, 5 to the right. 4 to the left. I think I'm counting the number of letters in basically on in the words. 4 left, 5 right, 4 left. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. No? There's no like confirmation thing I can do, it seems. Hi, Milka. Thank you for self-care. All right. Which is perfectly fine. I thought it seemed a little more fun than fine. I just really like shield-based combat. Okay, so I misunderstood this somehow. Just to double check. Address. I don't think it ever showed us the like exact address, right? Pier number 11. Loading areas. Okay. Shoot the lock until it inputs the combo itself. Until it's just Swiss cheese. Cha-cha time? Cha-cha time. All right. What is left? Later is right. Held is back again. What later hell? I'm not sure I get it. What does that mean? I thought it would be like the number of letters maybe, but maybe I'm like overthinking it. How much ammo do I have for this thing? A lot. Nice. Okay, we're missing something. I don't understand. Like, I even tried to see if there was something special on like the paper itself rather than just like the translation on the side. Later hell. Could it mean past 6? Maybe? Okay, I may have an idea. So... Also, no. There's no, like, confirmation or anything. So, like, I guess when I get it right, it'll just auto-do it. But... I'd be surprised if they planned to do a Quake game, but someone at either Bethesda or Microsoft told them to make it into a Doom game. No. You gotta do... Oh, is it full dial spins? Oh, the ones that I've done before. Okay, so we can try that. So... Okay, so we'll do a full dial spin between. We gotta go past it and then to it. So... I'm gonna try my first strategy, which was 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And go all the way around. 2, 3. And come all the way back around to it. I don't think that's right, because the way it like clunks, it doesn't spin, makes me think that it's something else. But I don't get it. Let me out. Let me out. What other letters do we have? Darkman, Mindless Cult. That's just horoscope puzzle help. That we got. I'm confused. Chat, are we gonna have to look this one up? We're gonna have to look this one up, aren't we? I'm kind of confused. I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay. Wait. No fucking way, dude. No fucking way. Really? Really? Yeah, I was overthinking it in a different way. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so we gotta do it this way. 4. 5. Oh.
Gotta go manifesto.
Oh, now this one's voiced?
November 19th, 1892. Breck Shipping Company delivered 4 steamer trunks, 1 Egyptian sarcophagus, and a large wooden
Oh yes, the
crate
day and age when you could just
belonging
buy
to the
Egyptian
showman
sarcophagus.
called The Black Pharaoh.
Stage
Performed
decor.
at 18th Street.
Wait, he
Gotta go
said... Hold on, he said something else extra. I want to hear that again.
1892.
Also, the coffee ring, the cup ring on the manifesto. This is from Cuba. Why is it from Cuba?
Wooden crate belonging to the showman called The Black Pharaoh, performing at 18th Street.
The showman called the Black Pharaoh. Okay.
This is it. The address to the theater where Jeremy first met the Dark Man.
All right, who's ready to become a problem? Oh, I don't like the creaking sound of the fucking plywood floor. Whose genius idea was this? That better not break. I do still kind of wonder. Her chains. Why this is the way it is. I'm pretty sure it's the sound effect of this crane. Can I just drop down? Nice. And what is this? Hello? I wonder if I can open this door. I'm hoping I can open that door. We're gonna go see it. It's not, I think the enemy that I heard out there is... Run, bitch, run! Let me down, let me down. Shit's still on fire, yo! We're going to the basement. We're going in the sewer. Let me in. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You'll never take me alive, fuckers! Nah, fuck you. You know what? Come on, let's go. Oh my god, the fucking recoil, dude. Good lord, the fucking kick. All right, let's go.
I'm out of bullets.
That's fine. No. No. Okay then. Probably should have used those Molotovs. Whew. I'm so good at this game. I totally didn't almost shit a brick by that door flinging open. Now, how many other things are still fucking out here? There's a newspaper there. Can I read the newspaper? No, that's the same one as it was before. What does this say? Hold on. We're hiring longshoremen. We need you with strong arms and back. Responsibilities: load and unload ships. Working day starts at 4 a.m. Paid $2 a day. $2 a day? Crane operator requires some experience with claw cranes. Not drunk. Working day starts at 4 a.m. $3.50 a day. Want the job? Contact Mason Johnson, Yellow Brick Building, Port of New Orleans. Quick, somebody go check how much $3.50 a day is.
Looks like the fog cleared up.
Did it? Did it? I completely disagree. Okay, hold on. Because something's different here. Are you serious? Look at that fucking wall. Hi, Souse. Hold on. Are you serious? A not so... What fucking Until Dawn movie shit is this? Wall. And I can't walk forward. To find a way inside the... I'm already here. Did I bug it? much ammo do I have? Oh, I got plenty. Enough to blow away a bitch. Okay. The fact that I can't see that way makes me think that well, maybe I can't go that way. I can see stuff that way. This definitely looks like some place somebody named the Black Pharaoh would live. But let's see real quick. Oh, wait. I saw it. There it is. There it is. Guys, for fuck's sake, soften your boundaries. Come on. Come on, dude. I'm pretty sure this was made by a professional studio, wasn't it? And then there's the invisible wall. Okay. 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 Ooh. Don't mind if I fucking do, my man. Nice. Hello. Oh, hello. Oh yeah, that'll do. That looks like our man. The Heartwood Curse. Temple of Mysteries, you say? More bullets. Actually, we'll go ahead and put those into the gun. Hello. Aw. God damn. Really passing out this ammo. Also, chat, as decrepit as this house looks, is it bad that I really like French, like, colonial housing? It's really pretty with, like, the wrought iron balconies and stuff up there. It's really nice. I told you I almost moved to New Orleans at one point, right? Hello. Oh, or I just try the door. Okay. Okay, they really need to work on their, like, lighting changes. Shotgun time. Shotgun. Okay, that was the door closing. The auto doors too, man. I swear. This isn't a house. This is a tower. What the fuck? Who designed the interior of this like this? How do you get to the balconies on the floors? God, I am looking haggard. Lower bitter shit. I mean, it's their own warehouse. Okay. Hello, Mr. Magician. Hi, Jeremy. Building French homes in Mountain Town. Yeah, but we gotta be close to the sea for it.
You shouldn't have come.
Don't say that.
Well, too bad.
You needed my help.
All I wanted was to keep people away from DeSoto. Especially you, Emily. You're the only one in the family who forgave me for choosing old age over death.
Wait, what the fuck does that mean?
Father still cares for you? He is paying for your treatment at Derceto.
To get rid of me! That's the only reason anyone's at Derceto. Someone in the family thought you were becoming an embarrassment.
Is that why they sent her to Derceto? To get her to be
Help me
trapped
get
there
you out of
too?
this mess, Jeremy. I want to take you away.
Your father would send me right back.
Okay.
What if I take you up north?
Aren't problematic so long as they're not plantation style or 1930s neoclassicism?
For a while now.
Neoclassicism,
I
1930s.
haven't been to Massachusetts in years. I still paint from memory, you know. That old lighthouse makes for a great motif. Your father and I would go almost every summer.
I'm trying to figure out
Then when our
who
great-uncle
Jeremy
died,
is
we
modeled
stopped
after.
going back.
Because so many characters in this game are modeled after their
What is there to be
actors,
done
but
about
I don't
Dark
recognize Jeremy.
He's the one holding you back, right? You feel like you can't leave without paying your debt to him.
I wonder,
Dark
does she
man
think
has
this is
been
actually
with me
mystical,
since I
or do you
was
think
12
that
years old.
they're like sharing in the
He was
delusion?
standing right on that stage right over there. For a brief moment, his gaze held mine. And that was it.
So
I
why is somebody
recognized him
who's
for what
essentially
he
an
was.
eldritch
The Heartwood curse embodied in flesh.
god?
I thought it was my turn. But I was only there to be mocked. Instead, his attention moved on to my father sitting next to me. I turned to him and saw his face. The whitest shade of pale I've ever seen.
It is mystical and eldritch, but I wonder why he's a stage magician. I never realized that the Dark Man was like a stage magician.
There's a way.
Maybe he literally only
Two ways
manifested
to be
as a
exact.
stage magician to curse
One
the
worse than
Heartwoods.
other. A written contract, now buried inside his sunken temple.
Sunken Temple.
Don't you remember what it said?
I don't want to.
Try, Jeremy. What did the contract say?
No, we can't. We can't let New Orleans suffer that blight.
So we're gonna find out it's Cthulhu. We're gonna find out that this man is a Nylothotep
What are you
holding
talking about?
Cthulhu back from
Is this the
rising
thing
so
from
that
the
New
Bible?
Orleans doesn't
Juan
flood
said
or something. The voices. The voices!
Okay, so there is a way to break the pact at least. Hidden somewhere inside the Dark Man's temple. I just need to find it somehow.
Wait. Didn't we... Didn't we have an image of this somewhere? Hold on. Was it this one? There it is. Right there. It's exactly the same. But... What does that have to do with anything? Oh, shit. Hold on. Okay. Outermost is the H. Next one is pillars. Inner one is the M. And then... Okay. 2. 5. 2, 5, 8. Going in. Where's the buttons? 2. I forget where I'm supposed to point this part. Oh, there it is. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. 2. 5. There we go. There we go. Teach you this lesson, Cthulhu. No coming to the real world. Ooh. A thing of coal. This looks like another stage. Oh! Why did it... That's here. Oh. I want to see what happens if I try to open this door. I feel like it's... Oh, but of course. It requires a key. It now requires a key. Great. Fantastic. Okay. But... I have bad news, chat. Oh, I can't save! No! Oh. Hold on, what is that? Fucking wow. That's actually really cool. Fuck, I still can't save. You did this to me. You did this to me, chat. Why won't it let me save? He's controlling Cthulhu. Wait, why was Eric Cartman be controlling Cthulhu? It's bigger on the inside. Yeah, the sarcophagus is bigger on the inside. Who'da thunk? The small stage magic show. Small stage indeed. Okay. Really? Really? A cow skull? In Egypt? Guys, how can we show that it's a desert? Cow skull? Cow skull. There's a camp right here, though. I want to come see this. Hello? Ooh. Hello? Aw, man. Ammo. Rope. Definitely gonna need that. Ooh.
The Temple of Nephron-Ka lies under our camp. Despite all efforts, that unholy site did not collapse, but sink beneath the sand. The pharaoh is long dead, his name meticulously stricken from all ancient writing. But that
I recognize his voice. I recognize his voice actor.
Remains. The temple is said to be lightless, built to harbor all the haunters
Mercer?
the dark found
No.
in the very depths of our universe.
Oh my god, it's Liam
Calling on
O'Brien.
the gods meant creating a bridge
It's Liam O'Brien.
between our world and theirs.
Yeah, it's Liam
Terrible
O'Brien.
Deborah of Taurus.
So I was like, no, I know this voice. I know this voice. It's fucking Liam O'Brien. Amazing.
Because according to the Kitab al-Azif, it was said to be the home of that crawling chaos known as Nyarlathotep.
I was right. I was right.
Through ancient mechanisms, it was said that the priests could open shafts channeling the light emitted by that strange
fuck you, I was
stone
right.
called the Shining Trapezohedron.
Above the statue.
Pulled together above the statue of that dark man would then be sent through space towards the Black Sun.
Oh, great. So what I hear is we're about to have to do a crystal puzzle.
Gifts bestowed on the sender are completely undocumented, but often assumed to involve dark blood pacts, where souls are traded for malicious miracles.
Who is this supposed to be? This isn't Jeremy, right? Liam doesn't play Jeremy, does he? Is that everything we could get here? That does, in fact, seem to be the case. Okay. You are not prepared. God damn it. Are we playing House of Ashes again? What the fuck? Those were like weird bat scarabs? Question mark? I'll do it twice just to make sure. But yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. That is going to be it. That is going to be it for today. We will be back tomorrow. We're gonna be just chatting. I don't exactly have anything on the docket for sure. If that makes sense. Where's my big chat? There it is. There my big chatting. Okay. We need to figure out what we're going to do. I need to wait for, oh, what's it called? Who is this? And why did both of the people that I was watching raid into the same person? I have no idea who this person is. Izzy's doing art. Mookie is doing, let's see. Waiting for it to load. Oh, it looks like she's doing, oh, she's doing the friendship bracelets for TwitchCon. Or Offkai? I think it's actually Offkai. Fairbanks, Elf. I know who we're raiding. We're gonna raid Kira. Kira is also currently partner posting, so I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to help her. Raid Kira P. Oh, I forgot that it was supposed to be Back in Black. Raptor Girl. It's a hell of a name. But with all the new people here, especially since we hit 8.6k, I will do the Wheel of Punishment tomorrow, Saros, so that we can roll it, spin it, and get you what it's supposed to be. But if you aren't already in it, I do recommend joining the Discord. We're going to be watching the second, what was it? The second Conjuring movie this week, come Thursday. So if you aren't there, I do recommend coming to join us. It's really good. I'm going to try to do a video on that too. My vlog is currently 2 videos at least right now. I still need to work on the script for the Dark Trinity video, but we'll get there eventually. I think that's generally it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. We're going to be back noon CDT tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to go for about 5 hours. I really want to go 5 hours. But somebody's been home all day and I've been hearing them go in and out. And I usually like just do my long streams when no one's home. So I'm kind of hoping no one's going to be home tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm aiming for a full 5 hours tomorrow. If not, we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being awesome. And thank you for enjoying the show. And remember, chat, it's okay to hold hands if you're afraid of the dark. Good night.